I lost my wife 3 years ago. I started dating again, and new girlfriend wants to visit my wife's grave. I am one of many who lost someone in that damn 2020. She was my world, and we had our future all set up. She wanted children too by 2021, and then she was gone. I felt I had lost all sense of purpose, and after an agonizing year, moved away. Not too far, but not close either. I didn't feel like I could breathe in that town. Still, every Saturday I get back and visit her resting place. I just functioned for about 2 years. I'm not depressed or anything like that, but I just functioned, until I met who we'll call Ada last year. We started talking and hanging out together. She can be a bit haughty with people she doesn't know well, but I was surprised to find out how sweet and kind she is under the ice. She gave me something to look forward to again. She likes to do most of the talking herself, which is fine with me because I never know what to say. She knows everything about my wife, and this didn't discourage her. She knows I'm doing therapy and still mourning, but she never left me alone. I asked her to tell me if anything I do or say makes her feel uncomfortable or like she's not a priority. She said that as of now I'm doing nothing of the sort. She knows what I do every Saturday morning and never objected to it, but today she said she would like to meet her, as in accompany me in visiting her grave. I feel conflicted about this. On one hand, I respect and feel touched by her wish. On the other, it feels weird. For a guy to take the new girlfriend where the first wife is buried, how should I approach this? Is it too soon? Should I ask her to wait for that? Yeah, I think it's a sweet and harmless gesture from Ada, but yeah, if Opie's not ready, then he's not ready. I know personally I'd want to be very sure about the new girl if I was going to take her to visit my wife's grave. Let's go to the comments. Waiting is fine if you're not ready. It feels like she wants to support you in something that was, and I'm sure still is, pretty traumatic. Joining you to visit isn't about meeting your wife, it's about being with you while you're still grieving and recovering. I think you say you're not ready just yet and really take your time to think about it. This is something you should talk through with your therapist before deciding if or how to go through with that. Sorry for your loss. If you feel better being alone, that's okay to tell her. Sounds like she's wanting to know more and is trying to get closer to you. Sounds supportive. It's okay to not be ready or want to do that. She'll be okay with it. Opie answers some more comments. Your wife would want you to continue with your life, especially since Ada wants to integrate her into your relationship. Opie says, yes, we talked many times that we both wanted the other to be happy if one of us passed on. Never thought it would actually happen. Ada has been nothing but respectful and tactful when I talk about her or show her things and pictures. Opie clarifies when he visits his wife. To clarify, I don't do anything dramatic like talking to her grave or crying my eyes out when I visit. I just keep it clean, water the flowers and replace the dead ones, check the wear and tear on the stone, and clean the glass with her picture. Opie adds another comment with details. Some details I've left out from the post. Ada and I met last April and we hit it off immediately. We're not currently living together and we divide our time between our places, but we're planning on sharing a home permanently. She's been clear she would like our relationship to blossom into something long-term, and she's fine with a long engagement before the eventual marriage. She is very clear and no bullcrap about what she wants and needs, but at the same time she is patient and understanding. I love this woman and I want to make her happy. More on Ada. Ada is a very headstrong and determined person, but on this I find a patience and a kindness in her that are close to infinite. She doesn't get upset when I'm a bit sad or thinking about my late wife. She understands. When we first started sleeping in the same bed, I shared with her. It felt a little weird, and also a bit like I was cheating on my late wife. Again, no anger or upset on her part. She said she would probably feel the same way if she was in my shoes. Okay, onto a short first update. I talked about this with my therapist. She feels that based on what she knows about Ada and the way she always behaved about this, that bringing her to my wife's grave will probably be a positive thing. I told Ada that if she feels like it, I'd be glad to take her with me this Saturday. She was happy to hear this. She usually works on Saturday mornings, but said she'd take the morning off for me. I feel a bit of an emotion I can't define about this, but I think it will be a good thing. Yeah, I think so too. Okay, on to the last update. Some additional info and an update. Some Redditors and some people around us were worried that my relationship with Ada is just a rebound. I admit it's something that I too was worried about, and Ada told me she didn't have long-lasting expectations at first. We began dating in April 2023, but as things progressed and she saw my intentions are serious and I'm committed, her doubts about me were gone. She says we are made of the same stuff. We are two loyal, committed and hard-working people, and she wants a future with me, and so do I. We're looking for a new place to share, and I'm looking for the ring to make my proposal. I admit that one of my biggest concerns is that I don't want to take advantage of her goodwill, even unintentionally. Her kindness and patience are near infinite, but I told her I don't want our relationship to be all about my past. It would not be fair for her. She reassured me she doesn't feel taken advantage of, and that I do a lot to make her feel loved and appreciated for who she is. But at the same time, she recognizes this is a part of me she's willing to accept to be with me. To my surprise, everyone approves of us. My parents, Ada's parents, and my late wife's mother. We never got any backlash. On the update, I talked about this with my therapist. She feels that based on what she knows about Ada and the way she always behaved about this, that bringing her to my wife's grave will probably be a positive thing. So I told Ada that if she feels like it, I'd be glad to take her with me this Saturday. She was happy to hear this. She usually works on Saturday mornings, but said she'd take the morning off for me. However, I had unexpected things come up for tomorrow. I have to cover for a sick co-worker, which means I'll be taken all morning and a great part of the afternoon. It happens, and when it happens I either go on Friday or Sunday. I decided to go this afternoon. We're in Europe, it's evening here, and asked Ada if she wanted to come along, and she readily agreed. We didn't talk much during the drive. When we arrived, we made our way to my wife's tombstone, and I just said, well, here she is. I fetched the water for the flowers and started my usual routine. Ada just crouched as if to examine it. Then she just helped me with the caretaking routine, removing the dead leaves and flowers, and cleaning the picture and the light. We then took a walk around the cemetery. It might sound weird, but it's not unusual here, as many cemeteries double as parks here. Then sat outside for a smoke before the drive back. We talked a bit, and Ada, who's quite the stoic, got a little emotional. She was happy I let her in on what for me is a particularly intimate and sacred place, but also shaken because after all the talking we had done of my late wife, she subconsciously thought of her as someone she'd want to meet and be friends with, but seeing the grave reminded and cemented the fact that this amazing woman is gone. It was a bit of shaking for me too, seeing her tearing up, since she's the most stoic woman I've ever met, but also made me think how this woman is a rare gem. I don't doubt that in different circumstances, my late wife and Ada would have been great friends, and I'm a very lucky guy for finding not one, but two amazing women who gave and still give my life meaning every day. Wow, what a beautiful ending. Opie gives one last comment. I wish to thank all you guys for the beautiful comments, the well wishes and love you have poured on me, Ada, and my late wife. Despite the tragedy and pain I endured, I feel extremely lucky and blessed to have found another chance at life, and two wonderful, beautiful, intelligent and amazing women that give meaning to it. I just want to say that wherever you are suffering, even if life seems to be a dark void, there is always a light and there's always another way forward. Yeah, amen to that. Enough said, I think. What do you guys think about that one? Give me your thoughts in the comments. Okay, on to another story. Okay, jumping over to the True Off My Chest subreddit, this one was written by user Passan K. Kosis, and it's titled, The guy I did homework for in high school reached out and now wants to buy me a house. I, a 29 female, always have been good with numbers and responsible. It was more noticeable in school because no one gave a F, but given that I have CP or cerebral palsy and walk with crutches and being a nerd, you can imagine I was an extremely easy target for bullying. One year, they mixed us, so I had new classmates. The bullying was worse, but then one of the popular guys would defend me. At first I was confused, but when I saw that he would leave me his notebooks, I understood. And so began our symbiotic relationship. The bullying stopped and I would make his homework every day. We never talked about it, and whenever he spoke to me, he sounded angry. It was like that for almost 3 years, and his grades went up. I was just grateful I could be at peace in school. We graduated and never spoke again, nor did I see him again. But then, a week ago, he reached out on Instagram. He told me how good life has been for him, and he offered to buy me a house and a car. At first I thought it was a scam, but we made video calls and he showed me things, and it's legit. Long story short, he is a successful businessman worth millions living abroad. He said he always remembered me because I helped him get where he is now. He said he wanted to repay me because he knew how hard it is to be disabled and a woman in my country specifically. He's not wrong, but I'm actually doing okay right now, so I declined all his offers. But then I received a call from a medical centre, the most expensive where I live, mind you, saying I had 3 years of physical therapy paid for. How he knew I did physical therapy, I don't know. I still thought it was a joke, so I went there, and it was true. I already did my first 2 sessions, and my body feels so much better. I'm still confused, because I saw our relationship as purely transactional, and now he comes and says he owes me? I'm so confused. Edit 1. Damn, I wasn't expecting this many replies. Thank you all for your kind words. It made me understand a little of how he may feel. I already texted him so we could talk a little bit more about his offers, because even though I turned him down, he said they'd still be up, and hopefully I can have a hand on the wheel to choose some less crazy expensive options. Thank you again. I feel less guilty now. Wow, yeah, maybe he feels genuinely remorseful. Seems like such a good gesture. But on the other hand, yeah, a house and a car, I can understand Opie's apprehension. I would think it's a joke as well. Let's go to those comments. You did his homework for 3 years, and he paid for 3 years of therapy. It sounds like he knows exactly what he's doing, and he wants to say thank you now. Remember that for the really wealthy, something that seems crazy generous to us is the monetary equivalent of buying you lunch. Enjoy your therapy, and may it continue to bring you relief. That's a nice gesture. You should take it and be thankful. Don't turn down on somebody who is trying to be kind, seemingly with no ill intention. Only he knows how impactful your homework was on his life, even beyond his grades. I'm glad the PT is helping already. I hope he extends it. Opie replies, I mean, I guess you could say we both impacted each other. It was thanks to him that the bullying stopped and school was nice again, but I never stopped to think how that impacted my life for the better. It's only now I realize how grateful I am for what he did. I'm so embarrassed it took this long to register. I had a friend offer to do something nice for me, and I declined. His response changed my point of view forever. He said, You don't get to decide whether or not I get to do things for people that make me happy. And I realized it wasn't just for me. It made him happy, and feel like he's making the world a better place. Opie replies, Thanks for the quote. It's very much true, I guess. I just have a hard time accepting gifts. Okay, on to the update. Let's see what Opie does. Given all the support and kindness I received on the other post, I'd like to let you guys know the resolution. We did another video call where I explained to him why I was hesitant to accept and told him all my doubts and fears about the whole ordeal. I was completely honest, which surprised me to be honest. He also opened up to me and told me some sensitive stuff, which I would have never imagined. At the end, we agreed that he would finish paying the car I'd just started paying through a credit, and also we found a little nice apartment in a good zone where I could be comfortable. I had my own lawyer doing all the paperwork. Thanks all kind people for the suggestion. I tried to express my gratitude, and I hope he really understood how big this was for me. Also, I got to thank him for protecting me in school, and tried to make him see how big of an impact it had on my life. I feel like this closed a chapter in my life, and I think it's the same for him. I don't think we'll ever talk again, nor do I think we're friends. He truly lives in another world, and our realities are not compatible. He did say, though, if I ever got to his country, not the US, I should call him to meet. I don't know if I would. At the end, I'm just happy to see him so accomplished after all that happened in high school, and I'm happy I could express all my feelings and thoughts. Thank you for all your supportive words. They mean a lot to me, and helped me make a decision. Okay guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, pretty good ending there. It seems like Opie got what he wanted, and it seems like the guy from high school probably also got what he wanted as well. And yeah, like that quote in the comments before said, it's not just about the person receiving the gesture, it's the one giving it as well. I don't know, what would you guys do in this situation? Would you take an offer as big as that, no questions asked? Or would you be a bit more apprehensive? Let me know. Okay, on to another story. Okie dokie, this one was written by user Sorry Miss Jackson, and it's titled, My son is going to get his heart broken tonight. My son has been dating a girl for a few months. I'm friendly with her mum, and she texted me this morning explaining that she found inappropriate texts on her daughter's phone to another boy. They've only been talking for a few days, and she doesn't even know the boy. I think she met him online. Her mum is making her tell him tonight. I'm heartbroken for him, and I've already prepped his favourite dinner for afterwards. I can't give him a warning, right? I have to let him navigate this on his own. I'm worried that if I let on that I knew before he even went to school this morning, he'll be upset with me. Man, this sucks. Yeah, I think an important part of growing up is having these experiences without, forewarning, I guess. Let's go to the comments. Nope, your instincts are right. Let him navigate this. Don't let him know you knew earlier, and just be there to support him. But your obvious kindness and compassion should go a long way towards making him feel loved and supported. You both are very good mums. Sorry your son is going through this. Hopefully she does tell him tonight and you haven't been put in a situation where you know and have to decide whether to tell him or not. How old is he? Just a personal note. Mine was 14. Puppy love is very real to the puppies whose hearts are broken. Mine scared us. He literally shook, trembled and couldn't settle. He begged us to let him go to her. Obviously no. He was sure he could change her mind. No, son. She made her decision. You will respect that. He spent hours just walking laps around our house until around 3 a.m. We were concerned, so we were up too. We knew he thought he was in love, but we seriously underestimated how far he had gone. Good luck with yours. The hardest part of them getting older is when a cute band-aid no longer fixes the boo-boo. Okay, now for an update. I wanted to thank everyone for all the kind words that they had for me yesterday. It was interesting to see the different responses, most of which were very positive, but quite a few thought we were overstepping and invading privacy. To expand on my previous posts, our kids are both 14 and this is their first real relationship. This got longer than anticipated, so I apologise in advance. My daughter, son and his girlfriend are all on the same sports team, and they had practice last night. My daughter came out first afterward, and told me that his girlfriend told him what happened before practice even started. My daughter wasn't sure what was said, so I waited for him to come out to the car. To my surprise, he seemed completely normal. I asked him how practice went, and he said something along the lines of, "Her mum told you, didn't she?" with a slight grin. I told him that I knew the gist of it, but not everything, and I would like to hear what she told him. She told him that her friend had given her a number to a boy whom she met online. He started texting her, and she just went along with it. Then she got grounded for school reasons, and her mum had her phone. This boy texted when her mum had her phone, and that's how she found out. She was crying, profusely apologising, and asked him if he would forgive her. He did. He then asked if I was going to make them break up, to which I told him no. It's his relationship and I'm not going to tell him what to do. After we got home, his girlfriend's mum messaged and asked how he was doing. I told her that he was doing fine and relayed what I was told, which she corroborated. The boy was sending inappropriate messages and she just answered back innocently, but the mum was upset that she broke their no talking to strangers rule and didn't tell her mum what was happening when his messages turned inappropriate. She's going to reach out to her friend's mum to let her know what is happening, because her gut tells her that it's not a boy on the other end of the phone. She also told me that she did a deep dive on her phone to make sure there was nothing else, and she was delighted to see how innocent the conversations between her and my son were. He's pretty prude and gets uncomfortable with anything remotely inappropriate. He doesn't even like explicit language and music. When talking to him this morning, I discovered that neither of them have had their first kiss yet, but have talked about it. They recently decided not to when she got too nervous. It's all pretty wholesome, really. My first instinct was that she was lying about the friend with the phone thing, but then Opie goes on about how innocent they are at the end there, and I can't help but feel like she's probably telling the truth. But yeah, a bit alarming that they would entertain the idea of talking to a stranger online like that. I think there's some lessons to be learned there as well. My mum is falling in love for the spinning teacher. Throwaway account. For family and friends I usually use Reddit. And sorry for the grammatical errors, English is not my first language. For some context, my dad passed away when I was young in a car accident, when I was 4, so she tried hard to make sure we had a good life. My mother worked in various places until she got a well-paying job, which is the one she currently works on. We both grew up in a somewhat conservative area. where homosexuality was frowned upon. There were LGBT people and they were completely accepted, but there were families who didn't like the idea of homosexuality too much. My mother grew up with that mentality. She didn't hate the LGBT idea, but she certainly disliked gay couples a bit. One time we saw a gay couple in a mall, and she said something like, "They shouldn't do that in public, much less kiss." During my childhood and adolescence, she had several boyfriends. Her longest relationship lasted almost 5 years. I really liked that guy because we used to play Monopoly and various video games. Luckily we still talk because he's one of my mother's best friends, but they both decided to take different paths and had to separate. Now, or months ago, well, a year ago, I started going to a gym near my house. She began to notice my physical changes. It crossed her mind to go to the gym with me. Until several months ago, she started going to the gym, after thinking about it for a lot. After some months, she lost a lot of weight and improved physically. I noticed several guys from the gym looking at her carefully. Something that makes me laugh is when she shows off her six-pack to me, and how now she says she doesn't need me to open the jars of jam or pickles anymore. In September, she signed up for the spinning class with the other ladies. At first, she only went in the mornings, but after 4 weeks, she also went in the evenings. My mum told me that she had become friends with Jennifer, the spinning teacher, not her real name. Some weekends, she let me know that she was going out to eat or run with Jennifer. This is how their friendship continued. There were times when my mother spoke with Jennifer for several moments on the phone or on WhatsApp. I began to suspect my mother's feelings towards Jennifer when one day they went out for a run, but it started to rain. I heard from the noises that they came running and stood next to the roof on one side of the entrance. I looked out my window and saw them both outside the house. Jennifer and my mum were laughing, and I saw my mother's face completely red and nervous, like she was with her boyfriend from before. Jennifer's face was the same as my mother's. Then they gradually stopped their conversation and looked at each other. I saw my mother look Jennifer in the eyes and then shift to other parts. They both started to get closer, and for a moment I thought they were going to kiss, but they both stopped. At all that time I was sitting in my room looking out the window. Through my window you can clearly see the entrance to my house and the garden. Then my mum and Jennifer came home. I greeted them both. Jennifer and my mum looked a little uncomfortable, and then Jennifer left. I asked my mum if something had happened because her face was red. She flatly denied it and asked me not to talk about it anymore. More things happened. My mum and Jennifer's outings increased and tended to last longer, and the times my mother couldn't see Jennifer, she got a little sad. But something happened at the end of November. A person we know left his girlfriend for another guy. As soon as we found out, my mother talked about it privately, declaring how that was possible. What example was that for the children? How she would never have a relationship like that, and basically saying bad things about LGBT people. Hearing her say this made me a little sad for her situation, because clearly my mother had feelings for Jennifer, but she didn't seem to want to accept it. 4 days ago, I went out with friends to watch a movie. My mum was going to be home because it was her day off. I told her that I would be arriving nearby in the evening, but things happened and I had to return home early. When we arrived, my mother's car was not there, so I just went to my room and played some video games. Shortly after, I saw her arrive with Jennifer. I heard some strange sounds, took off my headphones and walked down the stairs carefully. And I saw my mum and Jennifer hugging each other. I saw that my mum was sobbing. They both moved away, and then my mum kissed Jennifer and she did the same. I returned to my room being very careful not to make any noise. 5 minutes passed and I heard them leaving. They both kissed again and got into the car together. And in case you were wondering, I had all the lights in my room off. The only thing that was on was my computer. About an hour passed and they both returned with Walmart bags of paper, gift bags and toys. My mother always gives toys to my nephews or the children of her friends, and yes, they were for them. My mother and Jennifer greeted me, and between the three of us, we wrapped the toys with the paper and kept others in the bags. When Jennifer left, I asked my mum, not directly, if something was going on between them. My mother got nervous and denied it completely. For now, my mum has not seen Jennifer because she went to spend the holidays with her family, like us. At the moment, I can't feel happier for my mother. It seems like she already admitted what she feels, but she hasn't told anyone. I'm going to try to tell her that I know by showing her all my support and love, and that I don't care if she's actually gay. The only thing that matters to me is seeing her happy. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good mentality from OP. I think psychologically this could be pretty bad for OP's mum. You know, she obviously grew up conservative and probably hates herself for the fact that she's having these feelings. But yeah, OP's on the right track by saying that all he needs to do is make her feel comfortable and let her know that those feelings are okay. One comment says, "Don't go as far as 'I don't care if you're gay' because it's not your place to force her out. Something small and simple like, 'I'm glad that you're friends with Jennifer. She makes you happy and it's nice to see. We should have her over for dinner sometime.'" OP replies, "Hey, that's a great idea. I'll definitely do it after the new year. And yeah, I was thinking about it and I'm not going to force her to admit if she's gay or bisexual. That's definitely not my place. I guess she'll do it herself when she feels more comfortable about it." Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Let's go to the update. I posted this in another sub a while ago, but it was deleted. But in the other post, I wrote a few details and a small update that I'm going to add here. Short summary of my previous post. My straight mother joined the gym near my house, improved a lot physically, and then joined the spinning classes. She met Jennifer, the spinning teacher, and they became good friends to the point of going for a run and then having breakfast. But their relationship grew, and one morning they almost kissed outside the house. Before Christmas, my mum came home with Jennifer. My mum started crying, and then she and Jennifer kissed. Lastly, she was looking for a way to show my support to my mum. Some things about my mother. She grew up in a fairly conservative area, and she maintained that mentality. And to that, add that she is a little religious. We moved when I was very young to a much more liberal area, where seeing LGBT people was more common. I remember that she didn't like same-sex relationships at all, but mainly those of two women. When I was in high school, I had a friend who was bi. She had several boyfriends, but then she had a girlfriend. When my friend visited me, my mother seemed uncomfortable. She never said anything offensive to her, but without a doubt she could see his discomfort. Well, now after my previous post, I asked my mum if she had some kind of a relationship with Jennifer. She replied a little annoyed, "No, why would you think that? Don't go telling anyone that you think that." I didn't comment anything anymore, and only hinted that it was a joke. And ironically, something happened at the New Year's party, which was attended by my mother's friends and family. After a few beers, all kinds of conversations arose: religion, politics, recent events in the country, music, and at some point, relationships. Everyone was on the patio. I was on the other side of a glass door with shutters, but you could hear everything they were saying. One of the friends talked about his family, and I don't know what else, but then my mother responded to a question. "I would never have a relationship with another woman. I don't really like those relationships. I can imagine how difficult they must be." One of her friends said, "Sure?" to which everyone laughed. 4 days ago, my mother and I returned home. As I expected, my mother called Jennifer directly. I don't know what they talked about, but my mother looked clearly happy. Later, she told me that she spoke with her. I mentioned the idea of her inviting Jennifer to dinner, to which my mother agreed, with her doubts. So, Jennifer will most likely come to my house for dinner tomorrow, or in 2 days. I guess my mother still doesn't really feel ready to admit that she has a girlfriend or that she likes women. For the times she has flatly denied it. The idea I have is to improve relations with Jennifer little by little until my mother feels more comfortable talking about the subject, and talk little by little about how I support these types of relationships, not so obvious winks about her. Or I could wait a while, but I just want her to feel comfortable and be happy. Is this way of supporting her okay, or do you know another way I can support her? I think Opie's going about it a pretty good way. Wait it out a little bit, get more comfortable with Jennifer, and eventually the mum's gonna have to bring it up, especially if she wants a serious relationship with Jennifer. One comment says, "You are absolutely doing the right thing. Your mum sounds like she may be struggling to accept her feelings. Even if it ends up just being a strong friendship, her knowing you support it will be helpful." Opie replies, "The truth is, after what has happened, it is very clear that it's much more than a friendship, and it certainly feels like she's very conflicted about accepting her feelings." Okay, onto a final update. To start, it was a pretty interesting week. Those of you who read the previous post will remember that Jennifer would come to my house for dinner. Well, dinner was great. I got to know Jennifer better. She already knew her a little because she was already a trainer at the gym before being the spinning teacher. One day after my previous post, I helped my mother make dinner. Ribs, pasta, and a salad. Jennifer arrived very radiant. Honestly, I was amazed. I was used to seeing her in gym clothes, which is a top and sports shorts. She came home wearing a floral dress, loose wavy hair, and a cool pair of sneakers. While my mother also put on a dress, put her hair up, and basically casual clothes, while I was only wearing a black t-shirt and brown boots, I felt a little bad for dressing too casually. We talked about everything, or almost everything. We talked about anecdotes, food, hobbies. Jennifer gave me some nutrition tips, and it turns out that she and I have similar tastes. Series, movies, video games. There was a time where we talked about a movie and book saga, Harry Potter. It was just great. I looked at my mother and she looked completely happy. After dinner, we continued talking for a while. I asked Jennifer if she was dating anyone. Sorry, knowing the situation, maybe it wasn't the best. She smiled and said yes. I didn't ask any more after my mother told me, "Opie, don't ask her that." And Jennifer said, "No, don't worry, it's okay, he's just curious. I'm dating someone and I really like that person." I turned to look at my mother and she smiled as she saw us both. I apologized and went to the kitchen with all the dirty plates and glasses. I heard them continue talking. I looked carefully and saw that they were holding hands. They let go when they heard I was approaching. We said goodbye to Jennifer and I told my mum that she was nice. The following days it was the same routine. In the mornings my mother and I go to the gym, then I go to university and she goes to work. I return in the afternoon and my mother returns at night after going to her spinning class. During these days I hardly mentioned anything about that very important matter, except for one day when I made a comment about hanging out with Jennifer more. My mother agreed with that idea. On Saturday we went to a plaza to make some payments and to buy several things. We stopped by Jennifer's and it was all fun. Then Jennifer made a comment when we were carrying some things. "OP, don't you want some ice cream? Because I want some." We went to get some ice cream and sat in some chairs. It was a pretty nice moment. I noticed that at various times my mother and Jennifer would get closer and at the same time try to keep their distance. Yesterday my mother went out for a while, around noon. I bought a box of cake mix and several colorants. I made a rainbow cake so it would be ready when she returned. When my mother returned, she was surprised with the cake. She broke it and asked why it was a rainbow. Then I confessed to her that I already knew about her relationship with Jennifer. I told her about the time she almost kissed her outside the house when it was raining, and about the time she kissed Jennifer days before Christmas. I told her how happy I was for her and Jennifer, that her relationship didn't bother me at all. My mother started crying, hugged me, and started telling me that she was afraid to tell me. She then told me to not tell anyone in the family, because maybe they wouldn't see it very well, but she will tell them on her own time. We sat next to the table to eat the cake. My mother said that she didn't know she was actually gay, and that maybe that was the explanation why her other relationships didn't quite work out. Then she let it all out. She started dating Jennifer shortly after spinning classes. At first, they were friends with her, but little by little, she fell in love with her. They both confessed one day when they went to breakfast, and since then they began dating as, Mum's words, girlfriends. Turns out they started dating long before Christmas. My mother was afraid that I would find out about her relationship, and she was afraid that I would not support her. That's what I saw before Christmas. Well, that's the situation. My mum came out as gay and lesbian shortly after, and she has a girlfriend. She later called Jennifer to tell her what happened and come home for dinner. I'm very happy for her and for admitting who she is. She's clearly happy with Jennifer. Nothing could be better. And well, I guess that's it. I don't think there are any more updates. Thank you for joining me on this situation. Okay folks, and that's the end of that story. Great ending there, really wholesome, and really puts a smile on your face. Good to see that the mum seems accepting of herself and her own feelings. I mean, the acceptance of the family and friends may or may not come, but as long as she's accepting of herself, then that's the main thing. And like Opie said, she seems genuinely happy, so that's great. What do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments. Okay, we'll go to our next story. Okay, this next one was written by user Confident Cookie, and it's titled, "I was invited to my twin sister's surprise party as a guest, and I don't know if I want to go. I'm female 17 and have an identical twin sister. We are quite different when it comes to personality. She is more extroverted, always had many friends from various groups, while I'm more introverted, have always been geekier, and prefer a smaller, closer circle of friends. We don't share many common friends except for a few from our childhood at a different school. Our birthday is next Saturday, and yesterday one of my sister's friends sent me a message inviting me to my sister's surprise party. I was confused because obviously we share the same birthday, so I asked if I could also celebrate mine there, inviting a few of my friends as well. She replied that the party would be held in the party hall of her building, and it wasn't possible to invite everyone, but I could bring 2 of my friends. She later messaged saying they would only buy 1 cake, but I could bring my own and have a separate birthday song after my sister's. Today she added me to the party's WhatsApp group, which already includes 47 people, myself included. Even though we're very different, my sister and I have a great relationship and have always dreamed of celebrating our 18th birthday together. We had plans to go out with our childhood friends to a bar in the evening and drink a lot. Today I found out that our childhood friends are also on the party group, and I messaged them about our plans. They said they liked the idea of the surprise party, though my sister would love it, and are trying to get me excited about it too. The issue is, I'm not keen on the party idea. It's going to be crowded, and I won't be able to spend time with my sister the way I wanted. I might come off as spoiled, but I feel like an afterthought, and this is not how I want to spend my birthday. I'd prefer to spend it with my own group of friends, but I also know that my sister would be very disappointed if I didn't attend the party. I don't want to spoil the surprise for her, so I don't want to tell her what's happening. I'm at a loss about what to do. I spoke to my parents, but their advice didn't help. I just don't know what to do. Let's check out the comments. You only turn 18 once. Enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. Don't make yourself uncomfortable just to appease everyone else. Your sister will get past it. Maybe you guys could do something before the party together or after. It's really rude of them to have the party on your actual birthday and not celebrate you too. You don't owe them anything. Your sister is most likely going to feel very awkward about being sung to and celebrated, and you're going to be doing what? Pretending it's not your 18th birthday too? Those people suck. This is BS. Don't go, and enjoy the time with your friends. Get screenshots of the shifty messages for when your sister is upset you didn't go. Her friends will most likely lie about it. I'm surprised you and your sister haven't spoken already about birthday plans. Is there a reason? OP replies, We've already made plans to go to a bar with our childhood friends. My sister believes she's spending the afternoon with her friend who's planning the party, then coming home to prepare for the bar. However, her friend plans to accidentally leave the birthday gift behind, so they'll need to swing by her place for her to give it to my sister, and then, surprise. What about all the people waiting at the bar, or are they all in on it, and the bar is a lie entirely? I'm also a twin and would be so hurt if everyone wanted to celebrate my twin and not me. It's rude, degrading, and just plain mean. They could surprise her on a different day if they're mostly her friends and not yours. OP replies, The friends planning the party are not my friends. They invited our childhood friends since they know they're friends with my sister. Our childhood friends liked the idea of the surprise party and are trying to hype me up to go too. The bar was a concrete plan until her friend planned the surprise party. It's just, with the bar we would be among friends we both like and would be celebrated equally. At the party it's just going to be 90% my sister's friends. I'll still have my childhood friends and the 2 friends that they let me invite. I might sound very spoiled and immature, but I feel like I would be an afterthought and forgot at the party. It just feels very weird to me. Okay, on to an update. So, Saturday, I was feeling anxious by the birthday plans and I was crying in the kitchen. My mum noticed and came over to comfort me. When I told her I was upset about the party, she decided to tell me the truth. The party was actually a surprise for me as well, and all my friends were invited too. Yesterday I called Melissa, the friend organising the party, and she confirmed what my mum had said. Melissa explained that she wanted to spend my sister's birthday with her, especially since she might be moving away for college soon. She knew we had plans to celebrate our birthday with each other and our childhood friends, who are our only mutual friends, so she had the idea to arrange a surprise party with everyone, including my friends. She told this idea to our childhood friends, my friends, and my parents, and they all approved. Melissa had already figured out how to get my sister to the party. She's going to spend the afternoon with her and pretend she left her gift at home, but she struggled to find a way to bring me there without spoiling the surprise, since we're not friends. Her solution was to make it seem like the party was only for my sister, limiting me to bringing just 2 friends, who would actually be in on the plan. It all made sense now, especially why our childhood friends hyping me up to go to the party. She told me she didn't think things through and didn't realize how hurt I would be by this situation. She apologized for it. She thought it would be a nice surprise, and she didn't want me to suspect the party was for me too. I must admit, it wasn't how I envisioned spending my 18th birthday, but I've warmed up to the idea. I'm excited now. Oh, there you go, so nothing to worry about in the end there. But yeah, it is a bit of a backhanded way to kind of organise a surprise party. Like, sure, you'd realise that that's probably not the right thing to do and that they're going to feel uncomfortable about it, but anyway, we live and we learn, I guess. I just got an email on my husband's iPad that the hot water in his apartment building was going to be shut down temporarily for repairs. We own our own house and have not rented for over a decade. My husband is on a trip with one of our sons and his brother to go visit their mother, my son's grandmother. I was cleaning up the den when an email notification popped up on his iPad. It was an email from an apartment complex that they were going to be temporarily closing down the hot water for repairs, sent from one of those automatic senders that you can't reply to. It was addressed to my husband with his first and last name. The thing is, we own our house. We haven't rented in over 10 years, and even then it wasn't this place. Where my husband is, upstate New York, there isn't any service. I tried to send him a picture of the email, but it won't go through. I called him and spoke to him for a bit. Service was choppy, but I managed to explain to him about the email, and basically all he said is that it must be a mistake and they had the wrong email. We weren't able to say much before the call just dropped, but if it was a wrong email, how would they have his first and last name, all spelled correctly? For context, his first name is somewhat common, but our last name isn't common, especially in this area. There weren't any other emails from this sender or about this apartment complex in my husband's emails, but he's also the kind who clears out his inbox as he gets messages. I sent a message to the apartment complex telling them that I think my husband was on their email list by mistake, but I just got an automatic email sent back that they were out of the office until later, and then general rent information pricing, 1 bedroom $1,600, 2 bedroom $1,900, and that there were no open units available. There was no unit number on the email, but the complex is about 15 minutes away from our house, so I went and I drove by, which I guess might be a little crazy, I know. I didn't see anything, not like I knew what to expect. It's a group of buildings, less than 100 apartments in all. I don't have any reason to mistrust my husband other than this weird email that gives me a strange feeling in the pit of my stomach, as well as a general feeling of paranoia that he's just been bored with me. I've been feeling this way for a little while, but he insists I'm imagining it, and that he's happy. I only brought it up to him once, when I was feeling particularly insecure last year. We still do things together, he still tells me he loves me, etc. I just feel like he doesn't have as much fun with me as he used to, and he looks for reasons to be out of the house, or doing things specifically with the boys, instead of doing things with the whole family. It's not like it's something that bothers me every day, just something that I think about when I'm feeling insecure or paranoid. Like in a situation like this where he gets an email from random apartment complexes, lol. Anyway, I don't know exactly what advice I'm looking for. I know the advice I would have for one of my friends would be just to talk to him, but I really can't do that until he comes home on Saturday, which is a really long time for me to sit with my intrusive thoughts. Edit. He never lived here in the past. He lived with his parents until college and then lived in a dorm, and then every place he rented was with me. We've been dating since we were 19. Edit 2. The email wasn't a phishing scam, it was a legitimate email from the email address on the apartment complex's website. All of the information included in the email letterhead matched the information on the apartment complex's website, and if it was a phishing scam, I assume they would have been looking for information. This email wasn't looking for anything, it was just an informational email about the water. Update, my best friend called the emergency maintenance number and said that she was a delivery driver who had $100 worth of food for, and said my husband's name, but said he'd forgotten to fill in his apartment number. The guy didn't speak English very well, but after she repeated herself a few times, he did eventually say his name, and then told us an apartment number. Geez, yeah, call me paranoid as well, but this is not sounding good. I honestly can't think of a legitimate reason why he'd be renting out another apartment other than you know what. Let's go to the comments. If you go knock on the door and a woman answers, do not lose your cool. Maybe send your friend up there and be prepared to show his picture. Maybe bring the iPad to the apartment building and see if it automatically connects to one of the Wi-Fi networks there. If your husband has the same last name as you, are you able to call the maintenance person and pretend to be locked out? If you say you lost your keys and you have the same last name as the person who lives in the unit and he has a record of that person, maybe he'll let you in. You can also show the email as proof of living there. It might be helpful to see what is in the unit. Don't wait until your husband is back, because he may have already started to do whatever damage control he can, if he indeed is up to something. The faster you act, the better. Lol, this isn't a mistake. Your husband either signed as a co-signer for a friend behind your back, has an apartment for hooking up, or rented an apartment for a mistress. Go there and knock on the door. Good luck. Okay, let's go straight to an update. Sorry about the late update. My post was locked by the time I got to it. I'm currently writing this on the write-up state. Yesterday, I posted about an email I'd gotten on my husband's email from an apartment complex talking about fixing the water. My husband, who is upstate visiting his mother until Saturday, has next to no cell service, so I haven't been able to talk to him about any of this other than saying that the email must have been a mix-up. My friend called and got his apartment number from the maintenance man. Both of us went over to the apartment and my friend knocked. A girl answered but didn't answer the door, just the bell camera. My friend said she was there looking for Adam. The girl said that Adam wasn't there but wouldn't give her more information than that. Which I get, my friend was just a total stranger at her door. When we left, I could see her looking out the apartment window at us. I tried to call my husband 1,000 times yesterday and nothing went through. The few times the call did pick up, the service was so bad you could barely hear anything. So I'm headed upstate to confront him in person. I have a copy of the email, as well as a photo of the apartment, as well as a recording of the girl saying that Adam wasn't there, which is a confirmation to me that she knows him. If this is somehow all a big misunderstanding, I'm going to have my husband explain it to me in person, instead of waiting until he comes home. I haven't gotten a chance to read all the comments, but I will go through them now and try to respond to what I can. I haven't slept, so I hope this makes sense. Edit. To everyone telling me that I should just wait and not confront him, talk to her first. He's my husband. He's the father of my children. If I'm going to find out that he's cheating on me, it's going to be from him. I'm going to say this for the last time. Please stop advising me not to go talk to my husband about this very serious situation that we're in. I'll go talk to a lawyer if need be. However, we have been married for over a decade. We have a family and a life together. I am going to talk to him. I understand what the situation probably is, and I understand that he's probably going to try to lie to me. I'm not a moron. One comment says, wouldn't it have been better to get her story first and confront him with all the facts? Now he's just going to lie and deflect his ass off and make you look like the crazy bad guy. He'll have come up with a doozy of a story by now. Did you at least use his photo with the maintenance guy so that you have visual confirmation it's him? Opie replies, how can I get her story when she was barely willing to say anything to my friend? The reason why we didn't push her is because she wasn't giving us any information and we were worried that she was going to call the police. My friend tried to ask her more questions and she wasn't giving her any information. I think we know where this is going. Onto a final update. I'm writing this from a hotel room. I went to confront my husband. He knew the minute my car pulled up what was going on. He came outside to meet me, and the first thing he said was, "Did you go to the apartment?" And I told him, yeah. So then he said, "So I guess we have to have a talk." And again, I said, yeah. I'm not going to get into the exact details of it. It was a long talk and it involved a lot of emotions. She is his girlfriend. They've been together for 4 months. She is under the impression that we are separated and going through the divorce process. His family wasn't aware of this. His brother and mother, who were there, were horrified. I'm sorry I don't have more to say. I've already contacted a divorce lawyer, a therapist, and a financial advisor. Thanks to everyone for your support. Yeah, just from the title alone, I think the probability that this would end up like it did was pretty high. And yeah, I agree with OP in going out there and talking to him up front. You know, you've been together for 10 years, you want to hear it from the person themselves, no matter how hard it might be. What are your thoughts about this one? Let me know down below. Okay, on to another story. Okay, we're jumping over to Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Reasonable Tell, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for leaving my boyfriend for forcing me to have sex with him? Throwaway account. I'm very emotional as I write this, so please be patient with me. I, female 25, have been dating Paul, male 39, for 1.5 years. We don't live together since he has 3 kids, 12, 10 and 8, and prefer not to rush into moving in together. His kids have a really good relationship with me. I've never met his ex-wife. Paul and I work together, but in different teams. Yesterday we both went to a colleague's funeral. This colleague meant a lot to me as I considered him my mentor, and his death was unexpected. I was very sad and upset. Paul gave me a ride, but instead of dropping me off at my place, he decided that we should go back to his place, order food, and later he would drop me off when he had to pick up his son. I told him I could just get an Uber since I wasn't in the mood to eat or hang out, but he insisted, so I agreed. While we were watching TV, he started touching me. I told him to stop because I wasn't in the mood, but he continued. Eventually he said, "You know I always get what I want. You can be a good girl and give it to me, or do you want it rough, huh?" That's the grey fuzzy area for me. I hate myself, but I guess I just gave consent, because when he pushed my head down to perform oral sex, I didn't protest and followed. He continued with full-blown intercourse. He basically told me to bend over, and he just went for it. I was so upset afterwards that I put my face down in tears. He told me to get dressed right away because it was getting late for picking up his son and dropping me off. I was quiet the whole time. He was all happy, stopped at the drive-thru to buy himself food before dropping me off. I felt so gross and even asked myself, how did I ever find him attractive in the first place? I went home and cried. I told my friend and she thinks I'm overreacting. She thinks he just wanted sex and that it was a quickie, so what's the big deal? She thinks me not protesting was consent, so I'm just overthinking. Paul has been texting me and I've been avoiding him. Am I the a-hole for considering leaving my boyfriend over this? Nah, that's not on. No matter what your relationship, just because you don't fight back doesn't mean that you give them permission. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. Someone who loved you and respected you would not try to initiate sex when you're so emotionally fragile after the funeral of someone you cared about. You told him you weren't in the mood. That was the hard line where he should have stopped. I'm so sorry that he didn't stop. You did not give consent just because you didn't protest. You had already told him you did not consent. What he did after that is assault, simply put. He only cared about himself in that moment, and I imagine that's exactly why he didn't just take you home in the first place. You've done the right thing by leaving. Your friend is not a good friend to you if she thinks what he did was acceptable. You told him to stop. He did not. Not fighting back does not, I repeat, does not equal consent. You did not consent. I do not mean to yell, but you need to understand that what he did was wrong, and your friend sounds as equally bad if she thinking that not protesting equals consent. It does not. He took advantage of you. You could go as far as to say he assaulted you. I'm sure there will be people who argue that if you're in a committed relationship you can't assault your partner, but that's not true either. This is definitely something to end a relationship over. If he did it once, he'll do it again. Please distance yourself from this friend as well. They do not have your best interests in mind. Please do not hesitate to seek counselling as well. Take care of yourself. Quote, I guess I just gave consent because when he pushed my head down to perform oral sex I didn't protest and followed. Did you give consent or did you just not fight his advances? These are not the same thing. Not fighting is a fear response. Giving consent is a verbal or visual response. It sounds to me like he attacked you. I can understand not wanting to label this as an attack and press charges or take further action on that front, but at the very least you need to stop seeing him because this was completely unacceptable behaviour on his part. I'm sure even if you explain your feelings in detail, he will justify his actions. You may never get a resolution to the situation, but for your own mental and physical well-being, walk away from this relationship. Be safe. Opie replies, My friend thinks by not protesting I gave him consent and he misunderstood me. After he said he always gets what he wants speech, he grabbed my head and pushed it down. I didn't say anything. Plus, he was holding my head the whole time. That's the grey area for me. Did he really not realise I didn't want to, or he just didn't care? I admit I should have fought and not give in. I hate myself for it. Do you guys have a way to differentiate between rough sex and non-consent? If you're saying crap like a good girl, I'd assume you guys do it relatively rough. Do you think he truly knew you didn't want to do it? If you in good faith believe that he knew you didn't want sex but pushed anyways, this is sexual assault. But it sounds like it's very possible that you guys haven't set the proper boundaries for the way you have sex, and now you're in an uncomfortable scenario. Either way, it's either no a-holes or not the a-hole, but that depends on how you judge his intentions. Also, since I know how this will get downvoted anyways, you Reddit commenters are all autistic virgins, blow me. Geez, someone's not into making friends. Opie replies, we never had anything rough. He served in the forces. I'm not getting into details. He's very strict. Even with his kids, he is a strict man, not violent. He even uses a similar line with his kids. Quote, your options are obeying my order or face the consequences, which is the hard way. His kids always obey, as far as I saw. I did too, sadly. As for before, the same friend joked that how is that even a surprise to me? We're talking about Paul. He wears the pants in the relationship, and I've always been submissive apparently. So gross. How did I never see that? Yeah, honestly, no matter how you look at it, it's pretty problematic the way he went about it. Forcing yourself on your partner after the funeral of a good friend is not exactly reading the room well. And what's even worse is his seemingly complete lack of awareness to Opie's emotions. Yeah, I'm definitely with Opie on this one. Even if it doesn't warrant a breakup for Opie right now, it's definitely a big step forward towards it. Let's go to an update. First off, thank you everyone for your comments. I read every single one of them. Yesterday, I took the day off and didn't go to work. I couldn't just show up and face Paul and pretend I was okay. I texted him that I need to end this relationship because of my mental health. After yesterday, I don't think I can be with you and I need some healing. He immediately called me and asked, what do you mean by after yesterday? Are you still sad about your old colleague dying? Let it go. Who cares? He was old. And I told him it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with the incident afterwards at your place. He said, what incident? I even tried to cheer you up. I know you feel happy when I give you an orgasm. I lost it. I was like, you really think I had an orgasm? How? By forcing me to blow you, then bend me over and finish it? Which part was supposed to be fun for me? You telling me that I either put out or you'll get it anyways, or you not listening when I told you to stop, I wasn't in the mood? Did you not notice I cried afterwards? He said, you cried because you were for some reason so invested in some old guy from work dying. Don't blame me. I knew sex would cheer you up, and what I meant was I'll do anything to cheer you up. I was like, so in the future, if your daughter is upset and her boyfriend does the same, you'll thank the guy for cheering her up, right? He flipped out, started yelling at me and called me a disgusting C-word, trash, a creep for using his daughter as an example. He said we're done and never want to hear or see me again. He blocked me. I felt relieved because he won't be stalking me or guilt-tripping me to get back or force me to please him. I thought, phew, it's over. Except he told everyone in the office almost immediately that the reason we broke up was that I was a creep, but he can't explain in details and he wanted to protect his daughter. Right now, everyone in my office looks down on me. They even avoid talking to me. I went to the bathroom and cried. This man has destroyed me. I met with my manager as soon as he came to the office. My plan is to take a leave of absence, and he believes my side of the story and plans to help me find another job. I won't be renewing my lease as I want to move to a new place. I just want a fresh start. As for now, I'm going to go home and rest. Thank you everyone. P.S. I won't be reporting him. I'm done with him. I just want to move on. And some additional comments from OP say, no one believes me. I even told my closest co-worker what happened, and she said Paul is a good dad, and I'm bitter that he chose his daughter over me. She said my story sounds like it's made up by a bitter old ex. I tried to explain, but she basically ignored me. He has a reputation of Mr. Friendly and nice guy, and very beloved at work. And I don't want to get into details. I'll never win this battle. He served in the forces, worked in enforcement, and has many friends in enforcement. I can't prove anything, and he would get angry and come after me to hurt me more. I know he will. Damn, that is not the ending we wanted. But yeah, honestly, the Reddit relationship red flags were there from the start. I mean, the age gap, he was a co-worker, a cop, divorced. Like, I don't know how anyone sees all of that together anymore and thinks, yep, that's a good person to start a relationship with. But yeah, what happened was very clearly assault, and I'm a little bit disappointed Opie's not going after him for it, considering the fact that he basically defamed her. But on the flip side, I can also understand Opie's hesitance to, go further down the rabbit hole with this person. I messed up really bad and said something awful to my boyfriend when I was drunk and don't know how to fix it. Before I get started, I just want to say I know I effed up and I'm the a-hole here. My boyfriend is a wonderful human being who loves me and only deserves the best. Okay, like I said, I, 29 female, have a wonderful boyfriend, 28, and we'd live together. He had a bit of a rough time with finding work, and he started a job at the post office where he works very hard and works 40 to 60 hours a week. I'm only saying this next part because it's necessary to the situation, but I make more than he does and work less hours than him, and we're struggling with some unexpected finances right now, and it's been causing some tension between us. Last night I went to a bar with some co-workers and I stayed out later than I should have and came home at 2:30 a.m, pretty drunk. My boyfriend was up waiting for me and told me he was worried about me, and I asked why he stayed up, and he told me he was waiting for me and I shouldn't be out that late on a night when I have work the next day. I don't know why this set me off, but I got very angry and told him he had no right giving me job advice since he doesn't have a real job and can't even afford to pull his weight like a loser. He told me he thought I should go to bed and walked me over to my room and helped me get my shoes and dress off, and I just got into bed and lied down to go to sleep. But the worst part was, as I was drifting off, I heard him crying in the bathroom. When I woke up this morning, he'd gone to work, and now I'm at work hungover, which sucks. However, I have no idea what to say to him now. He should be home tonight, but I don't know what I can do at this point to let him know how sorry I am and how much I do admire him, and was just acting out of drunken stress last night. He loves steak and potatoes, and he's also a big movie guy, so I was thinking of making him steak and potatoes and renting a movie, but I just don't know. Any advice would be appreciated. Geez, even if she was drunk, why would she be saying something like that? I have a feeling this is going to be something that'll cut a lot deeper than what Opie can fix with just an apology. Let's go to some comments. Dinner and an apology is not going to cut it. You struck at his heart, and now you'll need to bear your own. Spend the day in self-reflection. Be honest with yourself about whatever deep, ugly part of you wanted to say that to him. Stop pretending it isn't there. In that moment, you wanted to hurt him, and you had a weapon ready to go. The alcohol let it out. It didn't create it out of whole cloth. Whatever resentments or insecurities or mean, nasty thoughts are hiding in your head and heart need to be aired out right now. I sound judgmental of you, but I'm not. We all have those nasty little thoughts. It is appropriate and necessary, most of the time, not to share them, but to resolve them for ourselves and be better. You have it, so they burst out of you when you couldn't stop them. That is why you no longer get the privilege of resolving your ugliness, which again lives in all of us, not just you, privately. You hurt him by showing it to him, so now you got to resolve that in a way he can see. Confess it without defensiveness. Admit it. Only then will your apology have any real meaning. If you can't open yourself up to him like this, vulnerable and likely to be hurt in the conversation, then I guess make him dinner or whatever, but you'll know that it was an unworthy apology. This didn't come from nowhere. A real job is something that earns money to contribute towards living, and it seems like he has that. You need to look at yourself and your views, and why you would ever even think to say that classist BS to someone you apparently love. Steak and potatoes and a movie isn't going to fix anything. You need to fix yourself. I had a similar situation, only we were married. She pursued her dream, which I fully supported and tried to help with when able. We lived in an economically depressed area. I had a full-time plus job, along with an hour each way commute. I supported us as best I could. I gave up all activities that I, previous to marriage, enjoyed. I worked evenings, weekends, and holidays helping her. Granted, the financial rewards of my job were not great, but it paid fairly well for our area. During an argument over not being able to make a purchase right away, she called me a lazy, worthless loser with no motivation. Something snapped at that point. I guess the 7-day weeks for months took its toll. Our relationship limped along for a year or so, taking on water and slowly sinking. One day, another pretty minor argument finally torpedoed it fully, and the relationship rolled over and sank. That was many years ago. Interestingly, we get along okay now. I hope for the best of you. If I was your boyfriend, I think your attack would be the beginning of the end for me. To be able to say something like that, drunk or not, indicates much deeper problems between you. He was showing care and concern, and you struck out with a dagger to his heart. Damn, how does he come back from that? And deep down, do you really want him to? Wow, some really soul-searching comments there, and hopefully Opie takes some of their advice. Let's go to an update. So I've been meaning to write this for 4 days, but I've just been completely wiped of all emotional bandwidth. My boyfriend is working hard at his job right now and is racking up some overtime, so I figured I'd take a moment to post it. First off, some information I left out of my prior post. In case anyone didn't notice, I don't respond well to alcohol. I have no dependency on it, but my self-control and decision-making is really not good when I'm drunk, and I just get extremely vicious and it brings out the absolute worst in me. On that same note, I had a group of co-workers who have been wanting to celebrate a promotion one of us got for the past 2 months, and Sunday was the first time any of us were free, so we were just going to have a Sunday afternoon chill that was going to end before 10. However, one bad decision led to another, and we all just collectively stayed until 2 a.m. with drinks. Second, I said what I did out of annoyance and upset I had with him regarding some financial decisions over the past 2 years that we're now reaping the benefits of. Long story, that doesn't frankly matter because it's not about that. I'm still a little unhappy about it, and I expressed that in a very unhealthy manner. I'm so proud of him for finding a job and trying to provide for us. Now for the update. I read through the comments all afternoon, and then I wrote down a map of the things I wanted to say and waited for him to get home. Additionally, I got in contact with my old therapist, and he was able to squeeze me in for the following morning, so I called out of work the next day to meet him. My boyfriend finally came through the door, and I asked if we could talk, and he said I could, but he also had some things to say. I started by saying I had no idea what to say to express how sorry I am, except that I shouldn't have said what I said, and I love him and admire him for how hard he works. I also told him that I was going to stop drinking, and I had an appointment with my therapist the next day. I also emphasized how much I appreciated how he waited for me and helped me get to bed after I came home, and how he absolutely didn't deserve what I said. He told me that I actually covered the bases of what he was going to say. He said he was very hurt by what I said, but throughout the day he was thinking, and said it was so out of character for me he actually started to get worried. Both of his parents were alcoholics at one point in his life, but got sober, and he told me he was going to tell me I needed to quit drinking and see a therapist or anger management counselor, or else he couldn't stay in this relationship. I told him I thought that was a very fair and sensible boundary, and I would do my best to do whatever I could. Then he asked if I could be honest, and asked me if I meant what I said. I told him I was being purposefully vicious because it came from a place of frustration, but I was intentionally trying to upset him, so I said some terrible things. He said he'd love to talk to me about that place of frustration, but then wasn't the time for it. But he told me that he forgave me and was really happy and admired that I'm taking the right steps to make things better, and we had a lovely long hug. Then I had a really emotional appointment with my therapist, and I told him everything that happened, and he helped me map out my feelings and how to express them to my boyfriend. The appointment went great, and I have another next week, but he thinks I should look into seeing a psychiatrist because I may very well have an undiagnosed mental health condition. That's the next step, definitely. On Wednesday, I had a sit down with my boyfriend where I expressed the frustrations, and he told me my feelings were valid, and frankly, he still kicks himself he didn't start a new job earlier too, because then his credit card debt probably wouldn't be so high, and he talked about how he's always felt like he let me down with his financial decisions being unemployed for such long periods of time. I won't get into it any further, but we had a really productive conversation. So yeah, we're taking steps and are openly communicating with each other, and it looks like we're going to be okay. We've been snuggling together at night, and this morning we even showered together before he went to work. I have some trust issues, so I'm still very anxious he's going to come back and be like, wait, actually no, I don't forgive you. But he's promised me he's going to be open with how he feels, which he has been. I think we're going to be okay. Okie dokie, and that's the end of that one. Yeah, it sounds like they're really in love with each other and willing to make things work and make compromises where necessary. And that's what relationships are all about. So yeah, good ending here. Opie should be very grateful that he's given her another chance, and I'm sure she is. Anyway, what are your thoughts about that one? Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's go to another story. Okay, jumping over to Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Dionysus Liaus, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to respond to my sister? I, male 24, recently did a DNA and ancestry test. I won't name the brand because I don't want this to seem like an ad. I was adopted by my parents when I was 7 years old. I don't really remember much, if anything, of my life prior to being adopted, but I know that I was neglected, to say the least, just to put that context out there. I've never really had intentions of meeting my biological family. I've always thought they obviously didn't care about me, so why should I waste time caring for them? When I did the DNA test, I knew it was a chance that I would be matched with a close genetic relation, but I never had any intention of messaging with any of them, even though my parents have been supportive of me finding a connection to my biological family. Anyway, the DNA test came back a few days ago, and I matched with someone who is apparently my biological half-sister. She sent me a long message explaining that she's been searching for me for a while, and she would love to speak and help me build a picture of my biological family. She said that she lived with me and my dad, her stepdad, and our mum when I was young. She was 7 years older than me, and when I was removed into foster care, she moved in with her dad. I read the message, but I haven't responded, and in all honesty, I don't plan to. It's nice that I know someone's out there who cares for me, but I still don't want anything to do with my biological family. My brother, also adopted, Oliver, says that I'm being selfish for not responding. He says I should think about what my sister might be thinking, but I don't think he understands since he's always kept a link to his biological family. We ended up getting into a huge stupid argument over it, and he says that if I wasn't going to respond, I shouldn't have even done the test, because now it just gives my sister false hope. I told him he didn't understand what I was going through because he never lost a connection with his bio family, and he said I'm an idiot for thinking that. We were both probably equally rude. I'm not trying to paint him as a bad person. We had a dumb fight. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to respond to my sister? Nah, not the a-hole for me. This should very much be something that's at the pace of what OP wants it to be, and obviously there's negative feelings and ideas associated with his biological family that would make him hesitant, naturally. Let's go to some comments. Not the a-hole. Your feelings about your family connections are exactly that, yours. If you're not ready to be in contact with your half-sister, that's fine. Maybe you will someday, but it's ultimately your choice. Your brother has no business pushing you. Opie replies, Thanks, I genuinely think my brother doesn't understand how stressful it is because he's always had that link to his biological family. Another comment says, No a-holes here, but I don't know why you'd make your info publicly available if you weren't planning to respond to anyone. OP replies, Pretty sure the one I used said I couldn't see my matches unless I was public. I guess I was curious as to if I had any matches that were close. My other sibling did one, and the closest he had was a third cousin, so in all honesty it was a mixture of I was curious and not expecting anyone to be closely related to me. Another comment says, Not the a-hole, and you don't have to respond. From my understanding, you're a bit indifferent or unbothered by the news. If you think you can manage your emotions, no problem. Then acknowledging the message, explaining your stance and wishing her well could provide her a lot of peace with minimal effort on your part. If it is emotional to reply, sending a message to provide her some closure would be a kind and selfless act. She might not have found a good family like you did. OP replies, Well, I never knew I had any biological siblings. In fact, I thought I didn't. In some ways, I don't want any ties to my biological family, because they gave me up. I had a mother who didn't and wouldn't protect me from my father. I ended up in a loving family, with parents who care for me, and siblings who I know and care for. In some ways, I want to entirely leave any ties to my biological family behind. I don't feel any ties to them, and I don't think I want to. I get that it could be difficult for her, but I don't know. Messaging feels like I'm reinforcing a connection that I don't even want to exist. Another comment says, Info, did your biological sister mistreat you? If not, I don't know why you can't just be nice to her. OP says, I don't remember my sister at all. I was around 5 or 6 when I was removed into care. It's not that I'm not being kind to her, it's that messaging her will bring back up a lot of trauma and bad thoughts for me. I get that it might be nice for her on her end, but if it's going to make me feel awful and depressed for days or weeks, I just don't want to put myself through that. I know that was kind of my own fault for signing up for the app in the first place, but I don't know, part of me didn't expect anyone closely related to me to be on there, and part of me wanted to see matches from afar. One comment exclaims that she has a right to know that he wants no further communication. OP says, why? Why does she have a right to make me do something I'm uncomfortable with to make her feel better? The commenter replies, why? Because you're a tulip. You entered your details into a genealogy site. If your half-sister got through to you another way, fair enough, you don't owe her anything. But you did enter your details, you got matched, you do owe your half-sister even an acknowledgement of not wanting further communication. OP says, honestly, I accept your point of view that you think I do, but I genuinely don't think I owe it to her. I know that messaging with her is going to bring back up a lot of trauma for me, even briefly, so I don't think I owe it to her to make myself uncomfortable to make her comfortable, if you get what I mean. Another commenter argues, why? Because you are supposedly an adult and can use your big boy words to tell her you don't want any contact with her. To just ghost her after she messaged you and expressed concern for you is childish and selfish. You don't have to have a relationship, but common decency should apply. You're a massive a-hole. OP replies, in some ways I can understand your point of view, but in other ways I know that even sending a message to her will bring back a lot of trauma and bad thoughts to me, which at this point in my life I'm not sure I'm ready to deal with. Probably signing up for the DNA app was a mistake, as it's made me very anxious since I've been having nightmares where I'm being hurt by my current parents, which I suppose are in place of my biological parents since I can't even really remember them. I'm honestly afraid that speaking to her, even briefly, will bring back a lot more, as well as bringing back a link to a family that I don't want or even want to acknowledge, if that makes sense. But you do seem to be getting weirdly worked up about this. There's no need to be rude to me. I haven't been rude to you or anyone else. On why OP took the test if he didn't want connections. I don't want a connection. I wanted to know my heritage. Plus I liked seeing the facts, like I have one of the genetic factors for cystic fibrosis. On Oliver. With Oliver, I don't know. We were both just rude to each other. We bicker a lot, I think like most siblings, but we love each other a lot also. He just is sometimes blind to the feelings of those around him and hyper aware of the feelings of people he doesn't even know. It's some form of trauma response, I'm sure. Gee, yeah, a bit of a heated argument there in the comments, but I don't know, I'm kind of on a middle ground here. On one hand, surely there's a way that OP can respond to his half-sister, decently, and letting her know that he doesn't want any connection, but that he's happy she's well, or something like that, and then be done with it. But on the other hand, I don't want to neglect the fact that this might create trauma for OP, which obviously he doesn't deserve. So yeah, I'm kind of torn. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments. Let's go to an update. Thank you all for sharing your points of view. I read almost all of the comments and appreciate all the advice and kind words most people sent out. I decided in the end to take the advice of most of you and send a message to my sister which said, hello. Thank you for reaching out and I appreciate you sharing that you have been searching for me. As you know, I was taken into foster care at age 5, which I don't remember much of. I was adopted by my mum and dad when I was 7 years old into a loving family. I've been cared for greatly by them and love them with all my heart. I have been to university and have graduated with a first-class honours degree in education, and I'm currently working as a teacher. Although I appreciate you reaching out, I'm not currently looking for any connection to my biological relatives at this time. I just wanted to send this message to let you know I am well and have had a happy life being part of my new family. Best of wishes. I think that message is all right and makes it clear I'm not looking for any connection. She's read the message but has not responded, although I don't expect her to. Thank you all again for your advice and help with dealing with this stressful situation. And later that day, she literally just sent me a really nice message back, so I'm glad that I provided closure for her. Even though finding out I have a biological sister has been stressful and something I never expected, in some ways it's been nice finding out. One commenter asks, what exactly did she say, if you don't mind sharing? OP says, I don't mind, but I'm going to rewrite it and take out some personal information, but the gist is the exact same. Hope that's okay. Hello. It's so great to hear from you, and I'm so pleased to hear how well you've gotten on. I completely understand and respect your decision about contacting biological family. I also went to university, but I imagine a few years before you did. It makes me so happy to know you found an amazing family who was able to love you in the way that you deserve to be loved. I just wish I was able to be a part of that life also. I got married last year and have a 2-year-old son. I hope one day you'll feel open to meeting him. Although he's young, I've told him about you and how we used to play peanut butter dog. Do you even remember that? Sending all my love. I have no clue what peanut butter dog is or what that means, so don't ask me, lol. Yeah, peanut butter dog, I've never heard of that. Does anyone know? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, great ending there, and yeah, great reply from the sister as well. Yeah, nicely worded letter was always the right way to go about it. I have a crush on my roommate. I can't figure out if she actually likes me back or not, or is just being friendly. Help. I've lived with my roommate for over a year now. We met in high school, a few classes, but we were never really friends. We worked on some projects together, and that's it. I never really paid attention to her, but she's smoking hot, and I obviously knew she was and acknowledged it. We ended up going to the same college together though, and decided since we know each other we should room together. She's a very lovely roommate, but I've ended up developing a pretty huge crush on her after I started being in her company a lot. I'm a lesbian, I'm fully out, and my roommate knows this. The problem is, I can't figure out if she's flirting with me or not. Please help me. I'll list some instances from the past year in no order that have stood out to me. 1. She said that we should make a list of each other's favourite orders from a bunch of places, so if we need to order for the other, we can. I said sure, that's good. Over the past few months, when I had a lot of things due and my anxiety was acting up, she kept paying for my favourite order meals, usually we split money, and getting me them with a very cute card telling me good luck and stuff. When I tried to do it back, she said no, let me take care of you, and my small gay self collapsed. 2. Her baby niece came to visit once with her sister, and she referred to me as Auntie's very special girlfriend. I freaked, but just laughed it off. 3. She gets me anything I say in passing I want or circle in any catalogue that I have. We don't have a lot of money, but she keeps doing it because she says she wants me to be happy, so I started doing it, and now we're both kind of broke, but have some sort of present buying standoff going on, even currently. 4. She said I smell very, very nice and hugged me once at home and didn't let go for a while, saying I smell like home and all things nice. When we split for the summer in the past few months, she texted me saying she misses the way I feel and smell, with no regard for my gay heart. I said you smell nice too, and she laughed about it. I never know how to respond. 5. She once held my hand while we were walking outside and she wanted to pull me along. She didn't let go until she had to, and since then whenever we go out, she holds my hand. I don't know if it's platonic. 6. I once fell asleep on my work and I woke up with my head in her lap and she was watching her laptop and stroking my hair, and I almost had a stroke. She said I looked peaceful, so she didn't want to wake me. She also cuddled me when I was upset about a bad quiz grade and held me until I felt better. 7. While drunk, she looked at me and said that I looked like I wanted to kiss her, and when I panicked, she was like, I won't mind, but she was very, very wasted and she forgot about it, I think, so I never brought it up. 8. She referred to me by my name for a few months, but now she almost exclusively calls me baby. She asked me if it was okay, and I was like, yeah, go for it, and she was like, thanks, because I always refer to my friends like this. But she doesn't. I've never heard her call anyone else baby. She also occasionally says baby girl and cutie. 9. She said to me, why do you look so beautiful without trying, after I'd rolled out of bed? I don't know what she meant. 10. She was sick a few months ago, so I took care of her, and she called me her little nurse angel and held my hand while sleeping, but she was so sick I don't think it counted. 11. She regularly sends me things that I like, fandoms she's not even in, or random posts and says, thinking about you, or reminded me of you. She's also gotten into many of my interests, as I have into her interests. Now we're saving up for a convention based on a joint interest. 12. Past Valentine's Day this year, she texted me saying, you're my Valentine, as a joke, and I said, okay, you're mine. She then gave me a stuffed animal, and I had to scramble to buy her chocolates, and then we went to go eat at my favourite takeout place. A guy also gave me a chocolate. We're friends, while she was with me, and she said, "Don't steal my Valentine now." 13. We weren't close for her first birthday freshly after we became roommates. We were closer for my birthday, and she gave me a very expensive gift after working overtime at shifts, and she said, "You deserve the best." Her birthday has just passed, and I went all out. I got her a cake and presents, and we went out to eat at her favourite place. She hugged me very, very tight after, and said that I make her happy. 14. She also regularly says, "Okay, it's a date," every time we make plans, but that's a fairly common thing to say, so I don't know if she means it literally. 15. This doesn't count, but she looks at me very intensely sometimes. I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't look very platonic. But maybe she just does that to everyone, so I don't know. She's a very intense person in general, I think. This is all I can think of right now. If I'm forgetting anything, I'll probably edit this post. My friends think she definitely likes me, and think I'm being stupid and oblivious on purpose. I just think she's straight and doing this out of friendliness, so my friend asked me to post here and get a general consensus. She had a boyfriend in high school briefly, and I'm afraid to ask her sexuality. I don't want to be let down, but I also want her to like me so bad, and I keep avoiding her sometimes and her friendliness because I don't want false hope. I know I probably sound stupid and in denial, but I suffer from bad anxiety and I can't just go up and ask her unless I'm sure. I don't want to lose her. Please help. I mean, 1 or 2 of those instances might be a coincidence, but 15 instances that she can think of. And that's only the one she could think of now. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? I think she likes her. So yeah, I think a conversation about it is inevitable, and I can't see how it could have a bad ending in any way. Anyway, let's read some comments. You are living a fan fiction, and my gay ass was cheering this entire post. I love hopeless lesbians, my people. You sound like my girlfriend and I before we realized we were dating. She would pet me and touch my hair, and our legs would touch together, and she would brush it off as, "I'm this affectionate with all my friends," and she wasn't, her lying ass. I love her. Anyway, I think you should ask her how she feels about you. I understand not wanting to mess this up, as she also sounds like a good and kind friend, but maybe broaching the subject by allowing her to state her feelings or intentions would help. Something like, "Do you think we'll be in each other's lives for a long time?" Or, "Where would you like to imagine yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Or if you're close enough and comfortable asking, "Have you ever been with somebody besides the guy she dated?" Without it being weird. All those questions could open the door into maybe whether or not she's interested in being with you, or if she sees you just as a friend. To me, personally, this seems like flirting. This is all very cute, and I'm secretly rooting for you and sending the power of all lesbians to you. I promise it will work out the way that it's supposed to. If you're really great friends, like it seems that you are, even if you admit that you think you have a crush on her and you don't want to make things awkward if she doesn't feel the same way, emphasize the importance of her friendship and presence in your life. Then at least you could continue an amazing friendship. Okay, definitely not one to rain on a gay parade, but just throwing a couple of cautions out there. Bi female here. A lot of this list would apply to me and my very straight best friend. While it is incredibly possible that your roommate is also into you, it is possible she is not. I think communication is a wonderful idea to help soothe your cute gay heart. Just maybe do so in a way that will allow you two to keep living together comfortably if somehow you've misread signals. In my personal case, my BFF knows that I was closeted for years and terrified of taking advantage of any of my friends with straight physical affection. She's super physical and affectionate with me intentionally to let me know that my gayness is in no way an obstacle to our closeness. I just hate to see you lose a living situation you love because all of us want your crush to be requited. Either way, please post updates. Wishing the very best to you both. 2 things here. 1, she's totally into you. Just kiss her already. She's totally waiting for you to. And 2, just be careful of dating your roommate. I and everyone here very much wants it to work out for you all, but really, things can go south quickly for a variety of reasons. I'm not saying don't go for it, but before you do, put together a relocation plan in case things go sideways. If you're curious about her sexuality, just strike up a conversation about celebrity crushes or something, or have a movie night with hotties of all kinds. Girl talk the crap out of it. Even as we live in a progressive city, I had a lot of straight friends come out as gay, bi, pan, etc. only after they left home. Don't fixate on someone's high school dating life. Everyone's preferences evolve. Okay, Opie updates in the comments. I was not expecting this many upvotes or comments. Thank you for everyone's nice words and advice. The fact that you guys are rooting for me makes me feel a lot better. I have no idea how to reply to everyone. I'm so overwhelmed, so I'll make this one comment. Generally, people have told me to just come out and ask her about her sexuality. I'm absolutely out to her. She knows I'm gay, and I say, I'm so gay, every single day in some context. She has not missed it. I've never talked to her about her sexuality explicitly, but she does call both male and female actors hot, but I thought it was for the memes. Asking her if she is serious is the way to go. Once I have a read on her sexuality, then I will hopefully ask her out. We'll do this over text though. I'm too nervous to do it face to face. I'll update with text screenshots once I have something. A lot of people have also pointed out that dating a roommate is shaky because what if you break up? And I completely agree. But asking her is worth it, I think. If I don't get a concrete read on her feelings, I will die. Thank you again for everyone's nice words. Signed, as many people have called me, useless lesbian. And another comment. I've decided to take Reddit's advice and not text her about this. I'm going to wait until dinner tonight and then I'm going to fully confront her. That being said, my friend saw this circulating on Twitter, and my crush has Twitter, so if she sees this before I have the chance to ask her myself, I'm going to crawl into a hole and die. Another comment. It's almost time to talk to her. Please wish me luck. I'm going to keel over from anxiety. Okay, now for the final update. Let's see what happens. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty invested in this one, not going to lie. Okay, let's go. Hello, this is probably the last post I'll make on Reddit about this probably. I did not expect my relationships post to blow up the way that it did, and it's all been a little overwhelming. It was removed because of a lot of cross-posting, and my updates were getting removed immediately as well. I'm not sure why. Anyway, I'll copy-paste my update for whoever has not seen it. I said we were going to talk over dinner. She came home and I made dinner, or tried, and I said I wanted to talk to her, and she was like, "Is it about the post?" And I was like, "Ha ha ha, what post? Thanks Twitter." And she was like, "I already saw it. A friend sent it to me on Twitter." And I was like, "Ha ha, oh no." Anyway, it beat being awkward about it. We talked in detail. We're from an area where if someone is out as into women, everyone will know about it. That's why I didn't know whether she was bi or not. Turns out she is, or has been figuring it out for the past few years. I honestly should have realised, considering how much she thirsts over women in any media we consume, but I thought it was a joke. She said she likes both men and women, and that she'd been trying to flirt and put her feelings across to me from the things I mentioned in the post. She also said my post sounded like a meme and she thought it was a joke, until she realised that it was me, and I can be dense. She did say I could have just spoken to her before going to Reddit, but why would I do that, you know? She also showed me her phone, and her entire Twitter search history was keywords related to my post, where she was looking at the responses and laughing at them, both on Reddit and Twitter. Anyway, we're formally dating. Thank you so much for your kind words, and well wishes, Reddit. Ah yes, the good ending. What a great story. A nice feel-good one to kick us off today. Anyway, what are your thoughts about that one? I'd love to know in the comments. Anyway, let's go to another one. Okay, this next one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "My mother-in-law wants to put $1 million life insurance policy on my husband and didn't want me to know." Okay, this is going to sound crazy. Believe me, I know it is. That's why I'm asking for advice. So my husband and I have been married a little less than a year, and together for 7 years. His mother-in-law is pretty insane. She's a hoarder, extremely needy towards her son, a liar, and willing to do anything to make any situation full of drama and about her. I really do not know where to begin with this. My husband's mother has always been off, so we've kept her at arm's length in our lives for that very reason. She is a hoarder, always trying to get money out of people and play the woe is me card to get sympathy. Well, this morning she called my husband and has been talking about opening up a life insurance policy on him for about $1 million. She wants to pay into this 100% and be the sole beneficiary to the policy. Now, my husband is an extremely healthy man, and his mother is not. She is overweight, has diabetes, and does not take any medication for it or attempted to improve her lifestyle for it. She's not anyway dependent on us or even lives near us. She's about a 3-hour drive away and she lives with her mother. My husband found the entire thing extremely amusing, but it has me extremely uneasy. She knows his social and information. I'm sure if she wanted to, she could easily do this. But the thing that rubs me the wrong way is she keeps saying, "I want to make sure I'm financially set when you die." Says nothing about the family he is creating or anything. She just wants to make sure she can take care of herself with all the money when he's dead. Like it is a for sure thing he is going to be dead rather soon so she can bank in on it. She also told him, "Make sure you don't tell your wife. You know how people get when they find out you have a hefty life insurance policy. You wouldn't want her to try and murder you." Seriously? What the F? I really don't know what to do. I've tried explaining we need to go no contact to my husband, but he keeps saying I shouldn't worry because there isn't anything she can do, and to just ignore it and she'll find another get-rich-quick scheme. I guess I'm just looking for advice on what I can do. I mean, can she do that? Should we allow it? What do you guys think? Wow, yeah, that's kind of freaky. Like, why does she think her son's gonna die before her? Personally, I'd be checking the brakes on my car every time I get in. Or I wouldn't be going over to her house for dinners anymore, that's for sure. Anyway, let's go to some comments. I fear for him, but I watch a lot of the ID channel. I think this thread will be States Evidence A. $1 million policy would be very expensive. Can she afford that? To get a policy like that, I'm pretty sure the insurance company would require your husband to go through a physical exam. He could just refuse. Opie replies, "I don't think she could afford it and keep up with the payments, honestly. She does have a full-time job, but she is a hoarder and is horrible with money. She keeps telling him that she wants to invest in his life insurance because it will make her financially stable when he dies. He's only 27 and is very healthy. This is what is extremely bothersome about the situation. You all should not talk to this crazy lady. That's messed up. The only one that should be on any life insurance policy is you, the wife, and offspring, or anyone he sees fit to benefit from his death. I think her logic is that you already want to murder your husband for money, and you'll have a big surprise when, after the deed, all the money goes to her rather than you. You go to jail, she gets the money, perfect plan. I don't really think she wants to murder him directly. Probably she's telling everyone you're a gold digger, and she is acting like she's a poor victim who cannot do anything to stop it, so better protect herself. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, regardless of her intentions, it's delusional and very convoluted. Let's go to an update. So, I'm back with an update from my previous issue. Well, today while I was out with my husband running errands, his mother continued to call him and text him. He's been ignoring her since the issue of her trying to get him to allow her to take out $1 million life insurance policy on him. One of her texts finally got him to call her, which was her telling him she'd been in a car accident over the weekend. So he calls her and she tells him about how she supposedly fell asleep at the wheel of her car and hit a cement median, ruining the passenger door and side of the car, and she ends up trying to request that he puts her car on his insurance, as his car now, and give her permission to drive it so that she does not have to pay the increased insurance prices that her insurance is charging her now. WTF, right? Well, when he tells her he's not going to be doing that, they started to get into a heated argument, and she brings up the life insurance policy again. Well, in the midst of it, as some of you had predicted, he called her out, saying, "I bet you're just planning on taking out a loan on the health insurance so you can get rich quick." And Reddit, she admitted to it. She told him that was her plan all along. She was going to take out the life insurance policy, pay for it for a few months until she could take out a large loan against it, and then stop paying. My jaw just dropped when she proudly admitted to it. Well, my husband told her off, and now we are going no contact. He is extremely angry and has basically said she has ruined any relationship they could have possibly had with one another. I am honestly very sad for my husband. I know it must be hard having a mother who cares only about herself, but luckily he does have his father and stepmother who have been very loving and supportive through this horrible situation. I just thought I should update you all since a lot of you predicted this is what is going to happen. Thank you everyone for your advice. My husband and I plan on taking out life insurance policies on each other as we move forward from this, and will be going no contact with his mother from now on. And now for some final comments. Wow, I suppose the loan is better than plotting his murder. That still sucks though. Take some time to grieve for the relationship that could have been, then carry on enjoying life. Opie replies, yeah, I can tell it really hurt my husband yesterday. I tried talking to him about it, but he ended up calling his father before he went to sleep and just talked to him about the situation. My heart really hurts for him right now. Keep a close eye on your credit. She may decide to try and take stuff out in your name, and you never know what she may know. Yes, we've been keeping an eye on it since the situation started, and we plan on continuing that. I genuinely thought she was planning to murder your husband, and Opie replies, believe me, so did I. Yeah, honestly, me too when I read the first post, and I'm sure many of you guys probably did as well. To be honest, I didn't even think of the insurance policy loan thing, but makes sense I guess, or doesn't, whichever way you look at it. I have face blindness. My boyfriend likes to test me. How do I make it clear this is not okay? Hi y'all, sorry for posting this. If it's not okay, I can delete it. I've been with my boyfriend for almost a year now. I love him dearly and he loves me too, I'm guessing. But there's one thing that's causing a lot of issues for us. I suffer from prosopagnosia or face blindness, which means it's really hard for me to recognize people's faces. I usually go by other characteristics to put a name to a person, like hairstyle, facial hair, marks, skin colors, accessories, etc., but it's still really tough. It's caused me severe anxiety and other mental health struggles. I'm lucky to have wonderful people around me though, who are aware and try to help. They'll introduce themselves when we start talking, wear something they know I've linked to them, or whatever. Usually my boyfriend does this too, but sometimes he likes to test me, and it's incredibly stressful. He shaved off his beard once. A few times he wore a completely different style of clothing, or changed his hairstyle, all without warning me. In those moments he won't tell me who he is, or say someone else's name, just to see if I'll figure out it's him. He'll make jokes saying he'll try to switch with one of his friends, and see if I stay loyal. I usually do realize it's him, but it causes me a lot of anxiety. We had big fights on this. He says he's allowed to change his look. I'm not a cartoon character. I ask him to warn me. Don't get me wrong, he cares about me, but I don't think he gets how stressful it is. How do I make it clear? We have a lot of great times together, there's just this bump. Yeah, I mean that's pretty cruel, but I don't know if Opie's really had a stern word with him about it yet. I'm sure she has, and if so, this is not on. Let's go to some comments. I want to be 100% clear on this. Taking advantage of my disability to trick me is not okay. You know that's what you're doing, and it's insulting when you expect me to believe that you're not doing that. It's extremely upsetting to me, and I don't know why you would want me to feel anxious and terrible. If you care about my feelings, you'll stop doing this. If that doesn't make him stop, then you need to stop telling yourself, oh, he just doesn't realize that this bothers me, even though I've told him repeatedly that it does bother me, when you've made your feelings incredibly clear. The answer is not that he doesn't understand, it's that he doesn't care because he'd rather F with you for his own amusement. I'm sorry you're being treated like this, OP. I had a friend or co-worker many years ago who had face blindness. Whenever I saw her in person, I casually said, "Hi, it's my name," because I could see the relief on her face every time I did that. She knew that she would never have to guess whether or not she was talking to me, and it was a tiny thing I could do that created a foundation for trust and care. And that is a thing that decent humans do for the people we care about. Small things to make each other's lives a little less hard and stressful. Decent humans do not engage in ableist pranks that they've been told cause harm. You deserve to be with someone who wants to make your life easier and less stressful. Your boyfriend could choose to do something really easy, like not play stupid games and always just tell you it's him, to establish himself as a reliably safe person. Why would he not do that? Sounds a bit red flaggish to me. He's checking to make sure you'll stay loyal by using his friends, knowing you have face blindness and how anxious it makes you. He changes his appearance without letting you know? Crap, me and my boyfriend don't have face blindness, but we still let each other know, hey, I'm getting a haircut, hey, I got new shirt or shoes, etc. I'm not saying it's a must in a relationship, but why wouldn't you want to let your partner know? You need to sit him down and give him an ultimatum. If he wants to continue to stress you out like this, then he could leave the relationship, or he can stop stressing you out, which he should know it does after being together for a year, and act like a normal couple, and just let you know things. Yeah, 100% agree with the comments here. This guy needs to grow up. Let's go to an update. It's hard to imagine I made this post 19 hours ago, and now I'm in the middle of breaking up with him. I'm very tired, so I'm going to keep this short. I went to talk to him, showed him this, and told him he can't do it anymore. The conversation was a lot. First, he was angry I made this post. Then he was angry I was taking it all so serious, and lots of apologies and so on. He again said he was just trying to make a tough situation more light. I said it's too much. He said I can't take a joke and I need to let him be him. That he always tells me when he's been joking, and if he was really keen on hurting me, he'd just do things and not tell me. So him telling proves he cares. That one got me very uncomfortable. At one point he said he just wanted to test if it was real, because I could just be using it as an excuse to do anything. I left after that because we were just going in circles. There was a lot of me making an issue of one small thing. I'm exhausted. He's still blowing up my phone with love and apologies, but you guys made me realize a lot. Thanks, really. I'm trying to stay rational about it, but it's hard, because I do care about him a lot. I'm going to get a few hours of sleep. Thank you again. Yeah, I mean, his immature response to Opie's simple request to not do it just tells you all you need to know about this guy. Let's go to some more comments. He's messing with your safety. Does he not realize that? Opie says, I don't think he realizes how confusing it all is. There's been a moment he did the opposite, acting all weirded out when I thanked him for a nice date, saying it wasn't him, and though I knew it was, I still started to doubt myself. He did say it was a joke soon after, but it caused such a panic. He hasn't done it again, but it took me a long time to feel comfortable again. Another comment replies, making someone feel unsafe is not a joke. Gaslighting someone you care about is not a joke. Holy smokes, that's terrifying. Not to recognize a familiar face with a major change like that is nightmare fuel. That your boyfriend does it to you multiple times on purpose is scary. I don't know if there's a way you can explain it to him if he doesn't get it. It seems he enjoys your panic, which is not a good thing in a partner. If this was my partner, I would get a tattoo or something, and I don't have any. Opie replies, my dad actually got a tattoo on his arm for me, which is a great comfort. I hadn't realized how messed up everything is until reading all these replies. Your boyfriend is basically abusing you in emotional situations. He thinks it's hilarious you struggle and get severe anxiety, which isn't normal, nor does it mean he cares about you. This is a huge red flag. Opie says, abuse is a really big word, but I do agree it's not okay. I'm seeing him soon. We'll see how it goes. And now for a final update. Hi all. Hope it's okay I post a little update. Things went bat crap crazy. A lot has happened in the last days. I'm really grateful to you all, honestly. I wasn't aware about the real meaning of his pranks and what it said about him and our relationship. I went to talk to him the same evening I made that post, with the intention of making clear he can't pull all that anymore. The conversation escalated. We talked for hours into the night and every day since. There's been a lot of messages. He got angry about the Reddit post I made. I showed him. Angry at you guys. Angry that I couldn't take a joke and listen to strangers. Said things like he in the beginning didn't believe I actually suffered from it and would use it as an excuse to cheat on him. That now he does believe, but due to bad breakups in the past, he has a hard time trusting. I won't use it as an excuse regardless. Said he was joking about it because he wanted to make a tough situation lighter, and that's just his sense of humour. That if I loved him, I'd accept that. When I made it clear I was done, it got even worse. He began apologising a lot. Said he didn't realise it was such a big thing for me. Again, didn't make any sense with all said before. In the same breath, he said that he at least told me. To the people who thought he actually had planned to trick me by using one of his friends, I think you all may be very right. To be honest, I was done. I do care about him a lot. Can't just shut that off, but it's never going to work. There's been many messages and calls, etc. He dropped some vague hints that sometimes he pulled pranks I wasn't aware of. I don't know if that's true or he's just in a bad place right now. He also came to my place to apologise again, but I suspect he didn't expect I'd immediately recognize him, as he didn't apologize till I said his name. He's not evil, but just very messed up right now. I blocked him everywhere, told him not to show up anymore, and that a friend would give him his stuff. I'm going to delete this account soon, but I wanted to thank you guys for helping me realize it. I genuinely don't think I would have. I'm heartbroken, but a bit relieved as well. Thanks for all the support and kindness. One final comment says, I'm glad you broke up. Someone who loves you shouldn't ever do that to you. Just curious about your condition. Do you also have issues with recognizing voices as well as faces? I can only imagine how hard it must be to deal with. And Opie says, actually, voices are one of the traits I go by to recognize someone. Voices, posture, tattoos, hairstyle, and so on. Thank you loads. Okie dokie guys, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, pretty good ending there. I'm glad she got rid of that guy. Yeah, like I said before, I think the way he reacted to her, bringing up the issue was the most telling part in all of this. Like maybe the relationship could have been saved if he'd said, okay, yeah, I stuffed up, I'll do better. But instead he doubles down and says, it's just who I am. Like, what an idiot. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Okay, on to another story. Okay, we're on relationships again. This one was posted by user Woggy19, and it's titled, Did I really do the wrong thing to my husband? My husband and I were celebrating our 6-year wedding and 14 years together anniversary tonight. We left work early and had a massage and facial. Everything was good. We then went to a local upscale steak place and were having a good time. I went to the bathroom and secretly asked the waiter to bring a bottle of Veuve Clicquot after we finished as a surprise. Context, he got me a bottle when we got engaged. Then we shared a bottle at our wedding. Now it's a should we grab a bottle every anniversary and holiday. I'm still the one who prefers champagne over him, but I'm associating it as a marker for special things for both of us. Right before the bottle came, he was asking if we should go somewhere else for one last drink. I saw the waiter coming and said, don't be mad, I already planned for that, and he came and opened it. My husband then went on to berate me about how I should have known he would want to leave, and that he only ever got the champagne for me, and that even though he liked it sometimes, I only ordered it for myself and not him. Instead of enjoying the rest of our night, we argued about it until we paid and left, and then the entire way home, and now he's sleeping in a different room. I really thought I was doing something kind based on nostalgia of our relationship, and I really feel beaten up over this, but did I do the wrong thing? Either he's mad about something else, or maybe he's just a bit stressed and tired and he's just being a bit precious. Let's see what the comments think. There's something else he is mad about. Then he needs to be an adult and say that. Blowing up at her over a surprise bottle of champagne is unacceptable behaviour. He's angry at you for something else. This incident isn't enough to induce that reaction and changed bedrooms. There's more to this. This reaction is completely unreasonable. You were anticipating his upsettedness when you said, don't be mad, and that was the thing that struck me first. Up to that point in the story, I'd not read anything that would make the average person upset. Ordering champagne to share is a nice thing. I'm guessing this is a normal thing for him to fly off the handle. Yeah, that's actually a good spot. Let's go to an update. Update since last night. I woke up this morning, still upset, and talked it through. Ultimately, he apologized, saying that he shouldn't have said anything and was just being a brat. We had been drinking some during dinner, so that definitely played into it. I slept on the couch for some of the night, but woke up and went to bed with him later. We're good now. The long of it? He reiterated that in the moment he was really ready to go. Not to have sex, to go somewhere else and have a drink, and it felt like I had extended the evening for something that was focused on solely me and not him. I asked him not to be mad because he'd just mentioned wanting to leave when I saw the bottle coming out. I recapped the times we had shared this champagne together for special occasions, and that he always seemed to enjoy partaking, and I was just trying to celebrate us, not me. We were going to order dessert and the bottle came before we did that, so we could drink it during that. He also tends to rush dinners, and I wanted to use our anniversary as an opportunity to talk, connect, not have phones, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Especially if he was willing to go to another place and drink, it didn't seem like it should have been a big deal. After reading comments, I even point blank asked him if he thinks I make things about myself and if it's a common thing, and he adamantly disagreed. I'm a highly anxious people pleaser, to be honest, and he knows this. The cost had nothing to do with it. We both make a good amount of money, and he often encourages me to be less frugal and spend more on us and myself. I manage the money and know how much we can afford and where the money goes. He loves massages and gets them more than me. The day we wanted to get a massage, only one was available, and he prefers them while I'm okay with either a massage or facial, so I gave him the massage to be kind to him. I guess the takeaway here is, unless it is a surprise for just him versus us, I should talk it out with him. I also realise I could have ordered it earlier in the meal. I just didn't think champagne and steak went together well, and thought dessert was better. Yeah, okay, so there you go. To the husband's own admission, he was just being a bit of a brat, and it's good that they could work it out in the end. And yeah, good call. I don't think champagne goes well with steak either. Maybe a good red or something. Anyway, what are your thoughts about that one? Let me know down below. Rightio, on to another one. Okay, we're staying on relationships. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Fiancé has invited his best friend on his family vacation instead of me. Hi all, I'm really struggling with trying to understand this situation, and I would appreciate some insight outside of my immediate friends and family. Throwaway account for privacy reasons. Just for some backstory, I met my fiancé, we'll call him D, at the tail end of my freshman year of college. We were friends for a couple of months before finally admitting that we had feelings for each other, and we've been inseparable ever since. He's known his girl best friend, S, since his early years of high school. D introduced me to S early on in the relationship, as she also attended the same university as us. I always trusted D, so I never had a problem with their relationship. I have platonic male friends that I still keep close in contact with, so having an issue with it would be hypocritical in my eyes. I even developed a friendship with S over the years of us knowing each other, so getting to understand her on a personal level has also made me feel more secure in their closeness. I got engaged to D this summer after years of dating, and I personally believe we have a wonderful and deep love. We typically have very healthy communication, and even if we don't see eye to eye on things, we tend to come to a good middle ground eventually. Fast forward to now. His family typically does a vacation every spring break. The past few years I've not been invited because, quote, only close friends or spouses are allowed to join in. Now, I admittedly have felt a tad bit hurt by this in the past, but I always let it go because it's not my family vacation, and I assumed he had no sway in who he could bring along unless they met the requirements. So you can probably imagine how excited I was thinking that perhaps I could tag along this year to spend some time getting to know his family much better and getting to spend some extra time with him that isn't the apartment or city we live in. Friday night when he came home from work, he started to casually bring up how his family picked a certain beautiful East Coast beach as their destination for this year's family vacation, which, by the way, got me so excited because I thought he was about to segue into inviting me. Rather, though, he mentioned that this year he was bringing S along to his family vacation. I think he could see the confusion and devastation on my face because he immediately started to say that he wanted to bring me, but his family has known S for much longer than they know me, and that they love her so they don't mind paying for her to go on vacation with them. S has also had a tough year with her grandfather passing away, so he wants to take her on a trip to make her feel better and get her mind off of things. I was genuinely so shocked and so hurt that I excused myself to the bedroom, locked the door, and sobbed my eyes out. The next morning, D came and spoke to me, saying he was sorry but that this vacation, quote, probably won't be that fun anyways since my teen cousins are coming, and that he would make it up to me by taking me out on a weekend trip sometime during the summer. I try to explain to him that it hurts that he's putting another woman above me, his fiancée, even if it's for a not fun family vacation. I've never been able to attend one of them before, and finally just when I think I'm about to be included, I'm just not. The vacation will be a week long, and I'm already starting to feel insecure that he's picked another woman to go on a tropical family vacation with. I truly can't understand how he wants to be a good friend and be there for his best friend while she's grieving a loss, but at the same time I could never imagine inviting one of my guy friends on a family vacation over my fiancée. It perplexes me, I suppose. I'm so confused on what to do or how to handle this situation. I want to respect his decision because I can appreciate that he can love and cherish another woman platonically, but at the same time I feel so betrayed that while he's on family vacation with another woman, I will presumably be sitting at home feeling extremely left out. I've also been battling the urge to look through his messages with her. I don't want to invade his privacy, but I can't help but begin to think that if you invite another woman to a vacation with you, there is probably more than just friendship in the pot. I don't really know how to bring up any sort of grievance I have about this without sounding like I'm jealous or clingy, and quite frankly, I'm not even sure if I should be upset. Should I be concerned that he invited her over me, or do you all think I'm overreacting? Geez, as a girlfriend, maybe, but as a fiancée and future wife, definitely not. You're part of the family now. Let's go to a couple comments. Oh hell no, this would be an absolute deal breaker for me. You are his fiancée, you are part of the family. If his family do not accept you, then that is a problem he needs to address, not just switch you out for someone they like more. How are they going to get to know you if you're not invited to things that would actually help them get to know you? If he wanted to invite both of you because she's had a hard time, then fine, she can come along as a family friend, but you should not be excluded. By saying you are not invited to a family vacation but she is, he is being very clear that you are not family. She is. You are not his family. I couldn't continue knowing that. To me, the problem is less that she is going, it's the fact that you've never been invited at all, and I'm assuming you've been together at least 2 years. It's not really a family vacation if they want to invite anyone they deem a close friend. The problem is, 1, your partner's parents do not want you there, and 2, your partner is okay with that, even after you've gotten engaged. Obviously, it's one thing to expect them to pay for you to go, but you aren't invited, period. Okay, folks, and I'm going to throw this one over to you guys. What do you think, and what would you do in this situation? Personally, I'm with the comments on this one. As for what I'd do, I don't know, maybe some reevaluation is in place. My sister claims she caught my girlfriend cheating with a friend of mine. They both deny it. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. My girlfriend and I have been dating for a little over 3 years. Everything was great until about 6 months ago. We stopped having as much sex as we used to, and I'll admit that was mostly my fault. Work got really stressful and I had some family issues I had to deal with, and unfortunately my relationship suffered a bit. We talked and I promised to put more effort into us. I do think things have gotten better overall, but I know we both still have room for improvement. Despite everything, I absolutely love this girl and don't want to lose her. Last night, my girlfriend told me she was going to the club with some friends after work. I didn't think anything of it. They do this from time to time, so whatever. Last night, around 11 p.m, my sister sent me some text saying she saw my girlfriend and my friend making out at the club. I didn't believe her, and she said that when she went to grab her phone to get proof, they'd stopped, but were still dancing very intimately, and did manage to get a couple pictures. It made me very uncomfortable. I asked if they left together, and she said she doesn't know. Here's my problem with all of this. About 4 years ago, my sister told me she had a crush on my friend. She confessed to him and he turned her down. Hard, apparently. He told her she's not his type, and she's way too young. According to him, she was persistent and he ended up being a little mean about it. She was really hurt by it, and even now she refuses to speak to him. It took her a whole year before she could even be in the same room as him. As far as I know, she has a decent relationship with my girlfriend. They aren't friends, but are friendly. This morning I sent the pictures in a text to my girlfriend, and my friend asked WTF was this. They both said all they did was dance. I told them they looked really close and that it was really inappropriate, and she told me I'm being paranoid. I told them what my sister said she saw, and after a bit of arguing, my girlfriend said I either believe her or my sister. I told her I don't know what to believe and that I need time to think, and she said, whatever. I messaged my friend privately and asked him to explain everything. I basically begged him and he hasn't messaged me. Not answering me feels like a sign of guilt. I don't think my sister would lie about this, but there is a part of me that thinks she might have saw an opportunity to hurt my friend for hurting her, or maybe I'm just being naive. I'm really not sure what advice I'm looking for. I just don't know how to go forward. Yeah, like Opie said, I think the silence is more or less an admission of guilt. I mean, all the signs are pointing that way. Let's go to the comments. From the story, I believe your sister. She gave you proof that they were too close, and her story sounds plausible based on the evidence she provided. The silence of your friend and your girlfriend's crappy reaction. I'm sorry, I wouldn't look past this. I think it's a major red flag that they said all they were doing was dancing. If it made you uncomfortable, then it made you uncomfortable. That's a relationship. Cheating and boundaries are different for everyone, and if you're upset about it, then they should be respectful and try to fix that. She should not be getting mad at you, and you should not be feeling bad about your feelings. I'm so sorry, OP. This is such a tough situation. Also, did you know this friend was going to be out with your girlfriend? Like, is this a mutual friend or your friend originally? OP replies, I didn't know he was going out or that he would be with her. As far as I know, it was a girls' night out. He's been my friend for about 10 years. They're friendly, but they've never hung out as far as I know. Why would your girlfriend even be dancing intimately with your friend? Think about it like that. Do you really believe your sister would want to hurt you just to spite your friend? Yeah, exactly. They might not be outright cheating, but, she still shouldn't be doing that. Okay, on to an update. So I figured I'd give an update to what happened. They never texted me back. At all. I probably would have never heard from either of them if I hadn't told them I just wanted the truth. They agreed to come over Monday night and explain everything. The long and short of it is that they did go back to his place and had sex, but claim it was the first time. About 4 months ago they ran into one another after her and I had a particularly bad fight that I don't remember, and he noticed she was upset, so he took her out for lunch and they talked about our relationship and me. They exchanged numbers. She ended up texting him about 2 weeks later after I went fishing with some friends for the weekend, and apparently had been texting daily and hanging out 2 to 3 times a week. She went to extreme detail about exactly how I've pushed her away these last 6 months. I told her I thought things got better after we talked about everything, and she claims it got better for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then it was right back to where it was. I asked why she didn't bring it up again, and she claims she did. I told her regardless, she should have just broken up with me, and that cheating on me shouldn't have been her response to what was happening between us. She agrees she effed up, but says I share blame in all of this as well. I asked her if it was just sex between the two of them, and they both said no. I also asked why not just tell me the truth when I confronted them with the pictures, and they said they panicked. I asked him if he had anything he wanted to add, and he said he's sorry it happened the way it did, but he's not sorry that it happened. I told him there are dozens of women out there he could have gone for. Regardless of the problems between her and me, he didn't have to go for my girlfriend. He said she hasn't been my girlfriend for 4 months, and I told them to get out. I don't really know how I'm feeling right now. I hated them when they walked in and when they left, but now I don't know. I went to remove her from social media last night, and she had a picture on her Instagram of the two of them. I skimmed through the comments, and some people were asking what happened to me. Some were people congratulating them and saying they looked cute together, so that didn't feel great. I also apologized to my sister for throwing her under the bus. I didn't realize that I did until some people commented that's exactly what I did. She said she doesn't care if it meant finding out the truth and getting them out of my life. I'm probably staying single for a while. Some people suggested therapy. Maybe that's something to explore down the line. Anyway, that's it. Damn, the way OP types it's very nonchalant, but God, what a horrible way to go. Like the ex-girlfriend shifting the blame onto him and then the best friend saying I'm not sorry that it happened. God, pretty rough cop. What do you guys think about that one? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. Okay, we're over on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by Throwaway Account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I would choose my mum over the birth of our baby? So, this is a throwaway account. I'll check some of these comments, but not all. So, to get started, I'm 36 male, and my wife is 33. We're expecting our first child soon. My mother, who is 70, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and has been hospitalised since. It's so bad doctors say she'll not survive since treatments aren't working well on her. My dad died when I was young, and my mum took care of me while working 2 jobs so that I could have a good life. I feel I owe everything to my mother. I bought her a house and whatever she needed so that she could live her older years well, since we had to struggle so much. When I got home from work and visiting my mum, my wife and I were talking, and she asked if you got a call that I was in labour or your mum was going to die, who would you pick? I told her I would pick my mum. She asked why, and I told her that I wanted to be there to say goodbye to my mum, since I would never see her again, and so she would have somebody there in her final moments. She got mad and said what about her and our baby? I told her I would try to be there as fast as I could after mum, but that most likely wouldn't happen, so I told her not to worry about it. She was still mad and told me to get out of the house. I left, and now I'm at my mum's house. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? I mean, OP gave an answer and gave his explanation for the answer. I don't see a problem with that. I can't help but think that the wife said that knowing what his answer would be and knowing she was going to get pissed off either way. Anyway, let's go to the comments. Jacked up question, but from lived experience, my mother was dying and my bestie was having a baby, her last, that had been full of complications, and she wanted me to be there, like I was with her first. I asked simply, can you plan to give birth at the same hospital my mother was at? I went from floor 4 to the cancer ward, to floor 2 to the birthing floor the entire day. The doctors knew what was up and what I was doing, so they allowed me to be there for both of them. Talk to her and find a compromise and make a plan. She's pregnant, which tends to make one a tad more panicky and emotional. The question was designed to pick a fight. No a-holes here. I get it from both point of views. Yes, at face value, her question is selfish, but with all that could go wrong, I understand her fear, and the only part that you got wrong was not understanding. It's scary. Just so you can get a perspective, my son was born in the NICU operating room at the military hospital. He was in distress for most of my labour, depending on how I was positioned. It was scary every time those alarms would go off just because I moved. His heart rate and O2 stats would drop, like rapidly. Then, on the way out, he got stuck, which once again was terrifying because the nurses began to panic. Not that they showed it other than the urgency of their tones with me. I assure you though, they were kind and all of that through the entire thing. So from her point of view, if something does go wrong and you're not there, then she's alone in her terror. Like I said, no a-holes here, I get it from both point of views, but the unknown for your wife is scary as hell. OP makes an edit. To everyone saying that I would be leaving her alone, no, I wouldn't. She'd have her mum there. She said she wanted her mum there with her. Yes, I was right for leaving my house. It was either I leave or she go, and I was not about to put my pregnant wife out of our house. Yes, I've been there for her. I've taken off work to comfort and help her in any way she needs during this pregnancy. Edit 2. I keep getting the same question about why did I leave my house, even though I may own the house. It was late and I didn't want my pregnant wife out late at night, but she told me to leave, so I knew it was either me or her. 2. My mother is in the hospital and she's not at her house. 3. I thought a lot about what you said, about how I should put her first, but she doesn't put me first at all. She chooses her sisters over me all the time. And 4th, I do not make her feel second. I've put my wife first, especially in emergencies, and I've tried my best to comfort her. I've gone home now, and I'm now thinking I don't need to apologise. Do you? I really don't know. Thanks to everyone who's commented. Another commenter says, you got kicked out of your house for getting a hypothetical question wrong. On face value, you're not the a-hole, but what is likely happening is your wife isn't feeling the support and love she really wants and needs right now. Is she a super needy and controlling woman, or simply feeling a tad neglected? Hormonal? I think you need to consider the why she asked the question and address that. That's the problem. The hypothetical question and hurt reaction is simply how it plays out. Get out of your mum's house and go fix this. Leaving her home alone isn't going to help. Sleep out the front if you need to. Bring lots of apologies too. You were not kicked out for bad answer here. There's a feeling of loss and something missing that your wife isn't feeling and needs to as soon as possible. Figure that out and go give it to her. And give her another version of it every day for the rest of your life. Go find out what part of love your wife doesn't think she has. Don't become a you're the a-hole and sleep at mum's house. Opie replies, no, she's not a needy, controlling woman. I never thought about that, but I did plan to go home and apologise today and ask her some questions about it. Info. Have you missed important appointments or not helping out around the house as much, making your wife feeling like she's alone for her to ask questions like that? Opie replies, no, I've been to all but one, and that's because she forgot to tell me about it. When I come home, I wash the dishes from dinner and clean the floor. Usually she prefers to cook. I've taken off a lot of days to help and comfort her through this, so maybe I could do more. I don't know what else to do, but I will ask though. It's a hard choice, but I'd say not the a-hole, as long as your wife does actually have another plan for getting to the hospital and someone to support her. If not, the situation is a little iffy. Chances of both happening at the same time are quite unlikely though, so here's hoping you don't actually have to choose. Opie replies, yes, she does have support. Her mum and sisters live close to us, about 5 minutes away. They would be able to drive her. Okay, on to an update. Hello again, people of Reddit. Some of you asked for an update, so here it is. I went back home yesterday afternoon, and she wasn't there. I assumed she was at her mum's house. She came back in the evening, and we had a talk about what happened. She did apologise for asking the question, and that when she thought about it, she understood my answer, because she would do the same. I asked her why she asked, and she said she didn't know, and thought I was going to pick her, since I normally do. I kinda just said okay, and moved on. I did tell her I want marriage counselling after, or even before the baby's born. She asked why, and I told her how I felt, and she denied it, so I had to give her proof. Then she started crying and got mad, and told me to sleep in the guest room instead of kicking me out, so I guess I got a win there. Anyways, she also told me that she no longer wanted me in the delivery room, which I was fine with. I understand to an extent where it's coming from. I'll go into therapy, which was suggested, and I think I do need it. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for the advice. You gave some good and bad advice, and sorry if my comments came off as mean. I'm not really a friendly person till you know me, especially if you're accusing me of something. One comment says, you would actually be fine with not being there to see the birth of your child? Really? Opie replies, no, but it's her choice. I can't make her let me in there. Another comment says, you could have told her it's a priority for you, that you're sorry too, and that you guys are talking hypotheticals, and the chances of your mum dying on your child's birthday are very slim. You could have tried to make her see it's important to you. Just accepting it would make me feel like you just don't care. Also, you could have been more understanding, taken accountability, and apologised to her before you brought in marriage counselling. Opie says, I did tell her that she is a priority, and she did see it's important to me, because she would do the same, and we did all that. Why do you all want me to argue with a pregnant woman? Please tell me you're in therapy, please. I've made an appointment with one. Okay, on to another update. Hello people, this will probably be my last and final update. I read a lot of your comments and I did apologise for not bringing up marriage counselling, but for the timing I brought it up and that I did show her proof. She did forgive me and told me I was still not going to be at the birth of our child. I said to her that it was okay and that I had accepted it and I wasn't going to fight her on her choice. I did tell her that I think she and I both need some space before the baby comes, to which she agreed. I told her I would leave and that she could have the house, and that if she needed anything, to call or text me. No, I'm not at my mother's house, I'm at a friend's house. He doesn't live there anymore, but he usually rents it out. To all of you asking why don't you kick her out, it's because I'm the only person who makes money in the house, and I know, especially now, if I kick her out, it will be called financial and emotional manipulation or even abuse, so it's better a lot of times if I leave. Yes, I do plan to go back home when the baby is born. And to someone who asked, I do plan to take paternity leave. No, she does not know where I'm at. She didn't ask, so I didn't tell, mainly because her family would be banging on my door. To people who I know are going to ask why aren't you fighting harder to be in the delivery room, well, I've learned that some things I cannot control, and one thing is people. If she doesn't want me in there, I won't be. My main example is if I'd gotten someone pregnant in my 20s, and I said just get an abortion just because it's my baby, well, that doesn't mean that I can control what she does, so it's her body, her choice. Lastly, to people who are saying they need more details, I'm not used to just randomly talking about myself. It's been that way since I was a child. I've gotten better since I was a kid, but it's still a struggle, so if you have a question, give me a specific question, because I'll answer what you ask, not the above. And about the divorce thing, I do care if she divorces me. I do love her, but I cannot control how she feels, so personally, I won't beg her not to. I'll suggest that we get help, but if she doesn't want to, then that's fine. I'm secure. What I mean by that is she'll get nothing in the divorce. Does she know that? I don't know. I'll try my best to answer the questions in the comments. One comment says, not the a-hole, but wow, such a dramatic turn of events from a hypothetical question. It really escalated quickly. Like now I don't think he's even going to have his wife as an emotional support when his mum died. I hope he has a support system in place because he's going to need it. Opie says, well, that's why I'm going to therapy, because I don't want to lean on my wife too much after she has the baby. Can I ask, why is your last line of the post certainty that she would get nothing in the divorce? Can you elaborate on that a bit? Opie says, we have a prenup. Anything that was purchased before the marriage would be mine, since even before we got married she was stay at home. So I purchased the house and everything before we got married, so it would be mine. And someone asks, do you have autism? And Opie says, ADHD, not autism. Quote, I'm secure. What I mean by that is she'll get nothing in the divorce. Do you hate this woman, your wife who's carrying your child? She doesn't work and she'll be doing primary childcare presumably. How is she going to live? She's going to be a single mother just like your mum. Is that what you want for her and your kids? I do not understand you at all. Why are you throwing everything away because a first-time pregnant woman feels insecure? Opie replies, I don't plan on getting a divorce. No, I don't hate her. She'll have to get a job and I'll probably end up paying child support. I don't plan on getting a divorce, and if she wants one, that's on her. I'm not throwing everything away. I'm just giving her space and not making her more stressed. The if she doesn't want me in there, I won't be, and she will get nothing in the divorce statements both bother me. It sounds like she may want you to show that you really want to be there with her and with her in general. Maybe try a little harder to make that known. Your attitude makes it seem like you just don't care. Also, why would you want her to get nothing in the divorce? She is the mother of your child. Opie says, that was decided before we got married. When we got engaged, she decided to be a house fiancée, then housewife. So for me, I wanted to protect myself if she ever checked. I've heard too many stories. My attitude around her is I try to show I care, but maybe she doesn't see it that way. I don't know how she sees it. Yes, I know that she's the mother of my child. God, the way this guy types is just infuriating to read. I'm constantly stopping and starting. And yeah, I also don't understand the weird comments about like the divorce and all that stuff. Anyway, on to the final update. Hello people, I have good and bad news. So I'll start with the good news. My wife had the baby on January 26th. It's a girl and I love her so much. I wanted to name her after my mother, but we found a compromise, and her middle name is my mother's name. To the questions I'm going to get about was I in the delivery room, I was not. I did ask, but I got a no, and she said she had already told her sister and that she couldn't hurt my feelings, which, okay, by then I'd stopped caring a lot. The bad news is that my mother died. She died a week before my baby was born. A decent bit of her friends came to the funeral, and if you go back up a sentence, I said I'd stopped caring a lot. She didn't come to the funeral. She made stupid excuses, and I just said forget it. It was nice though. I'm mad that she wasn't there when I needed her. So I haven't been talking to her much, so I won't yell at her. We talk about the baby and her, and other than that, we don't talk. I'll bring up marriage cancelling in a few weeks, but for now, I'm going to enjoy my baby and love her. Yeah, honestly, sounds like that marriage is over. Shame about the mum, but life goes and life starts. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that one, if you could comprehend the writing style of this guy. Am I the a-hole for leaving in the middle of a girls' trip in Europe? I, 24 female, have a friend, 32 female, who got engaged and decided to do a girls' trip as her bachelorette party. She picked Italy and there were 6 of us on this trip. My friend loves to drink and party, whereas I don't drink but will indulge on occasion, like special events and celebrations. During this trip, I tried to participate in the drinking as best as I could. I'm a very bubbly and extroverted person when I'm in a group setting, so who I am sober versus drunk, it's the same energy. I've tried to express this to my friend for years, but she's still someone who gets sad when other people don't drink as much as her. It's also physically impossible for me to drink as much as her. I just can't. But I tried really hard for my friend on this trip to indulge her. I wanted her to feel happy. I share this to express that I went in with the best intentions. But here is where I drew the line. We met some young people. They invited us to a party. We went and danced and met more people. The night kept going on longer, and we were very far from our lodgings. These young men, with 2 women in their group, told us to stay with them for the night. I wasn't feeling this situation. It felt unsafe, but the group voted, and I was in the minority. They were all quite inebriated, and it was hard to be the only sober person trying to get them to reconsider and get a cab and go to our lodgings. I didn't trust these men. Something seemed wrong. but I was at a loss as I could not split from my group and didn't feel safe separating from them in the middle of the night. We go to this house and settle in. In the middle of the night, I hear attempts being made to enter our room. The men entered even though we had locked the doors. I pretended to be asleep, and the men were talking in Italian, but it felt like they were checking on us and wanting to do something. They were quarrelling with each other, going back and forth it seemed. They ultimately left to argue outside. I didn't sleep the whole night. I texted my boyfriend and told him what was happening, and how I felt unsafe. The next morning, the group of girls I'm with decides we're going to stay another day because these men have offered to show us around. I didn't want to get into the car with them because I found them creepy. There were women in their group, but it didn't matter. They seemed even more suspicious to me, being overly friendly. The whole morning, I found the men staring at me a lot and also making some comments about my ethnicity. I'm Korean, and they could tell, and it seemed they were interested in me because of my ethnicity, asking me strange questions, including if I'm a virgin or not. So in my head, I could only think of perverted reasons for these questions because I thought these guys were sketchy and sizing us all up for some reason I couldn't figure out yet. My friends said I was having a language barrier issue and I probably misunderstood. They were liking the attention of these affluent-seeming guys who were going to get us on a yacht. My suspicions and concerns went unheard. I talked to my boyfriend in France and he said he could come get me, and he did. Am I the a-hole for leaving the trip because I felt uncomfortable and unsafe? I tried to communicate all this to my friend, but she didn't feel the same, so I did what I had to do for myself. The men were saying they'll drive us to get our things from the hotel, and we can stay with them instead, and the girls were considering it. I left 4 days prematurely. The girls eventually came back and told me how creepy and scary the men became, and that I was right. The friend, however, whose bachelorette it was mad at me for leaving. Edit, I just want to add my boyfriend offered to drive them to our booked hotel, and I urged them to follow the planned itinerary. We even found a legit company who did yacht services, and my boyfriend offered to gift my friend by paying, but she and the others wanted to go with that group of men. Yeah, that sounds really fishy to me. As soon as I started inviting them to yachts and stuff, the alarm bells went off in my head. Like, that sort of stuff just doesn't get given out for free. There's an expectation that the girls, in this case, are going to give something back. Doesn't take a genius to work out what it is. Let's look at some comments. Not the a-hole. You didn't feel safe, so you left. That's common sense, to be honest. Your friend, and I use that word in the loosest possible definition, can take risks with her safety if she wants, but she cannot take risks with yours. She has no right to be mad because you didn't want to bunk with literal strangers who'd already forced access to a room that you'd locked. She's 32 years old. She can manage her feelings by herself. Let her be mad. Also, an aside, who the F spends their bachelorette with complete strangers? Not to mention complete strangers who obviously wanted to bang. Those are some questionable decision-making skills at work there. Not the a-hole. You could have been assaulted and or killed or human trafficked. Your friend pressures you to drink and hang out with possibly dangerous strangers in a foreign country. She does not have her life together. You were right to leave. The bride sounds pretty toxic. I'm sure her marriage will go well. Not the a-hole, as your safety and well-being is key. You repeatedly tried to get them not to go. They ignored you. But you're the a-hole if you're an AI or this story is the plot of a bad horror movie. Opie replies, No, just want to clarify that fortunately nothing happened to my friends. They're all safe and I kept up communication with them, including making them give me all their locations so I could track them on my phone with Find My. I didn't sleep right until they left the creepy dudes, but I'm glad nothing happened. It could have been much worse, and I'm so glad it was not. Not the a-hole. Do whatever you need to feel safe. Your friend is very selfish. She sounds like a just me. Everything is about her and what makes her happy. Opie replies, I understand it was her bachelorette trip, so to some extent it is supposed to be all about her. But you're right, she can be a little self-centered, which is what I was trying to explain with the drinking. That the same mindset applies to everything, and I feel that's why she's mad at me, because she cannot see my discomfort or limitations might vary from her own. I feel bad for leaving, but I'm not sure how I could have stayed. It was difficult to weigh the responsibility of remaining a part of this trip and experience versus feeling safe. Okay, on to an update. I did not expect such an overwhelming response on that post. I wrote it in part to vent because I felt some members of the bridal party are unfairly upset with me. I'm no longer a part of the group chat, and I was supposed to be singing a song for the couple at this wedding. which I'm sure won't be happening either. That's okay. At this point, I do not want to attend. Seems like a sign that I should no longer be friends with the bride and another friend from this group, and maybe even the rest of them. It still hurts though. I guess that's normal. I also want to express this can happen anywhere in the world. I do not mean to claim Italy is unsafe, rather that situations can be unsafe anywhere, especially when people get caught up and choose to stop being aware of their surroundings. When I was living at a model house, I witnessed a lot of manipulation, and part of my vigilance is due to the experience I had. To have it fall on deaf ears was extremely disheartening, but I learned from this experience now too. On my post, I also received several comments requesting more information, so I'll answer it here as part of the update. If I missed your question, I'm really sorry. 1. Did I tell the girls the men had entered our room at night? Yes, I tried to wake up the girl next to me to alert her after the two men went outside to argue. She was still too inebriated. All the girls were wasted, and although I felt sober and lucid, I also had some alcohol, so I texted the group chat and said we need to urgently talk when everyone is up. I didn't sleep all night. I stayed in this hyper-alert state. When the girls woke, I explained what happened in the night, along with my concerns. A few girls seemed to consider this, but the bride-to-be and another girl began to persuade everyone I was simply overreacting. They asserted that because nothing happened, it was my personal paranoia at best. They tried to explain away the incident of the men entering the room to be that perhaps one of them was unhappy to give the room to us. They said everyone was drunk and tired, and as such, people became cranky. This conversation got cut short when a woman from the Italian group entered the room. We had no alone time after this, so I continued to persist in the group chat. The only thing I kept from the girls in my group was that my boyfriend was currently on his way. It's a few hours' drive. I chose to keep this a secret because I did not want the girls to mention it to the Italian group. I felt it would cause a problem in the worst case scenario. 2. Is the bride-to-be a cheater? I don't feel comfortable writing about her in detail, but she did not have sex with the men to my knowledge, and I don't think that was her intention at all. But I do feel that she and a few other girls did want to take advantage of this trip to have some kind of spontaneous adventure. They wanted a story to tell, and to have some kind of wild experience, which 100% involved flirting with men for the thrill of it. This mentality quickly made following the planned itinerary boring, and this new situation that presented itself more exciting. All the other girls in the group are single, except myself, one other girl, and the bride, so I think that contributed. The bride-to-be and her best friend, who kept disagreeing with me alongside her, loved to party. Her fiancé is the same. They're constantly partying together, going to raves and concerts and festivals all over the world. It was also for this reason they kept trying to overrule me. They deemed themselves more experienced travellers. Even before this trip, I've always been labelled the baby of the group. Despite this label, I'm not clueless. It also takes more to impress me, so I don't give a reaction easily or get swept up by charitable gestures. These gestures really made the girls become careless. I'm spirited and friendly to people I know, but naturally skeptical of strangers. I don't have a loud voice, but I am vocal and will speak my mind, whereas some of the other girls are more quiet followers who say things that they know will be in alignment with the group. The bride and her best friend were louder, and very wrong, but their loudness and the conviction in which they projected their opinion bulldozed me, especially when no one else would take my side. There was a major "that only happens in the movies, this would never happen to us" type mentality going on that didn't work in my favour. This, mixed with the high of alcohol and drugs, and the runaway train that was the mentality of the girls on this trip, it got really hard to talk sense into any of them. My boyfriend met me at a store when I left with a girl from the Italian group on a supply run. It felt like a red flag to me that they always wanted to accompany us. My boyfriend arrived and I told the Italian woman I'm going home. My boyfriend had me call the bride-to-be. He said he would take them all back to the hotel. He even offered to help arrange a boat if that's what was keeping her here. She told him he is controlling and she feels bad for me. She refused everything he graciously offered and asked for me to be put on the phone. Then she yelled at me for having done this behind her back and for spoiling the mood of the trip / the memory for her. The conversation was going nowhere. She told me to essentially F off. I was fed up at this point and feeling unwell from lack of sleep. My boyfriend went back on the phone with the bride and made her put him on speaker, and then told them all to share their location with my phone. The bride refused, but everyone else did it. The girls went later with the women from the Italian group back to the hotel to get their things and relocate to the villa. 3. After the trip, most of the girls informed me I was right, excluding the bride-to-be and one other girl. This is what happened. The men started to get more sexual on the boat in the evening, but not before trying to get everyone extremely intoxicated. It wasn't a kidnapping scheme, I think. It seems they just wanted to get sex in return for all the free favours they'd provided, and became more aggressive and demanding about it. No one was sexually assaulted to my knowledge, but it seems like the men were quite persistent, so the line is blurry. Also, I learned one of the girls did have sex with one of the guys, the bride-to-be's best friend, who was the girl they kept siding with her. She had sex with one of the men the first night, and that's probably why she was so adamant to stay. They continued their fling, but the other girls became sour to the experience and asked to leave. By the end of the night, they had to check back into a different hotel. What a mess. The bride-to-be is angry that I abandoned the group and that I left too suddenly without, quote, thinking about it. She says I have shown I'm not a person who sticks with her through thick and thin. In my defense, I tried my best to express my feelings, but they went on unheard, so the only choice I had was to leave, because in all honesty, I refused to risk my own safety. I also did not want to get into too much detail for sake of length, but the men made me uncomfortable for several reasons, and I think I have the right to not be subjected to unwanted attention. Despite all my calm attempts to reason, the bride-to-be doesn't understand my side. She believes I overreacted for nothing. I'm not sure if the other girls are trying to persuade her to understand me, or if they're all in agreement with her. I think I'm just done defending myself. I refuse to beg for this friendship. I kind of want to just move on quietly. What transpired speaks volumes by itself, no? For background, I've known the bride-to-be for years, and the time span is the main reason we stay friends. We don't see each other all the time though, and can go months and months without interaction. I have many other friend groups, but the history we share keeps us together. Over the years, she doesn't seem to have grown at all, so maybe it's time to go separate ways. One comment says, "Not the a-hole. Chills. They could have gone so differently. Did they not see the last season of White Lotus? Thank goodness you got yourself out of there, and agree that boyfriend is a rock star and gets full marks. Ditch these vermin pretending to be your friends." Opie replies, "Ironically, I've also not watched any of White Lotus, but I see it mentioned here on my post a few times. I think I need to watch it myself. I only chose to come on the trip with these girls after reviewing the itinerary because I knew what kind of travellers they are. I guess getting engaged to be married didn't change anything. In hindsight, I may have been a little naive for thinking it would. Thank you so much for reading my posts. I hope it helps someone like me in the future, or makes girls aware that you can never be too cautious. I'm grateful and extremely lucky by happenstance that my boyfriend was around, as he was also going to attend this wedding. It's much more difficult when you have a long flight to take to get to your person." And on to a mini last update. I was just saying to another user in a comment that, looking back on it, I think it was naive of me to expect this group to not do something like this, given their past travel history. I made an assumption based on the itinerary and the fact that she was getting married, that this trip would be a different vibe. It wasn't, and I'm just lucky my boyfriend was also going to be attending this wedding, so he was nearby to come get me. And you're so right, it should have never been about voting on whether my feelings, discomfort and concerns mattered. They should have been taken into consideration. There was a lot of evidence to, at the very least, paint the picture that these men were making aggressive unwanted advances which could escalate, and that we shouldn't entertain their type of company. The fiancé is also my friend, and he did ask for my side of the events after she told him hers. He did not see anything wrong with my decision, and felt it was a bad idea what they decided to do. But he is somewhat like her, in that he's very much a carefree partier. Also, the girls and the bride all shared their side of the story first, so I think it influenced the narrative a lot. He's told me he spoke to the bride about what happened. Then she reached out and asked me to attend the wedding, but there was no apology. She didn't address anything or discuss it. Felt very much like she was deciding to let me back in. And so I decided her re-inviting me to her wedding wasn't enough. I told her I am not coming. I was supposed to sing at her wedding, but I'm no professional. It was more of a little gesture for the bride and groom as my friends, not something that would be missed if it didn't happen. I don't think my absence will be felt much in the sense of the program, so I don't feel bad about not going to the wedding. I don't think my conscience would allow me to even sing for her without feeling like a clown after everything that went down. She's been indirectly posting passive-aggressive meme quote reels and stuff about friendship and loyalty that I know is a dig at me on her stories. The friendship is over, and the way she's acting only makes it easier to be okay with that. She always has to prove she's right or explain her way out of something when she's wrong. She'll never acknowledge anything other than her perspective. I somehow got through all of these years of our friendship, never having ruffled her feathers, but this one time we weren't on the same page for valid reasons. It really showed me how ignorant and self-centered she is. Oh my god, sorry for the novel. Yeah, wow, and that's the end of that one. Yeah, I think we can all agree that Opie's definitely not the a-hole in this situation. I mean, any sensible person sees the warning signs here. And just because it's real life and not some movie doesn't mean that something bad can't happen. I think these girls were lucky that the guys weren't part of some bigger organization or something like that. You know what I'm saying. It could have very easily turned out differently, considering how gullible the bride-to-be and, her friends sound like. Anyway, what would you do in that situation? Let me know. Okay, let's go to another story. Okay, well, on the True Off My Chest subreddit, this one was written by a now deleted account, and it's titled, "My ex-wife has terminal cancer and she wants me to get her pregnant so she can experience the gift of being a mum. We had an amicable divorce. One of her biggest life goals was for us to have kids. Me too, but it never happened while we were together. I recently gave her a visit and she told me that she wants to experience the gift of being a mum before she passes away. She won't make it to see our hypothetical child be born, of course, but she said she wants to have the experience of being a mum and that it would make her life feel complete. I'm shocked, to say the least. I can understand where she's coming from to a degree, but it also sounds a little insane to me. I don't know if even possible, how pregnancy will affect her, but she told me not to worry about it. I told her I'll consider it. I feel selfish for even considering it. I think having a child/being pregnant should be intentional and not just something to cross off. However, I know I can't fully comprehend what she's going through." Geez, this is way above Reddit's pay grade, I think. Let's look at the comments. "She's terminal. I imagine soon will be in hospice, so being pregnant would probably accelerate the condition and be deadly here. She's irrational. I would try to talk to the family or her doctors if possible." Knowing you're dying has to conjure up all sorts of emotions that are probably difficult to deal with. She's not thinking rationally. I'm not a doctor, but I gotta think it's unlikely she would ever be able to conceive anyway, under the circumstances. Maybe Opie can buy her one of those born-again dolls. They have heartbeats in them, and baby noises, soft limbs like a real baby, but weighted too. I mean, maybe that would be therapeutic to hold and talk to as she goes through these emotions. If she wants to hold a baby and coo to it, then the solution is easy. Either buy a reborn doll, or if you know someone who has a baby, get that person to give the baby to her to hold for a few minutes or so. If it's the pregnancy, well, you can always buy her a pregnancy vest. What's the plan for the baby? Abort it / let it die with her? You become a single father, or adopt it out? This is insane. As I read it, she would not be able to carry to full term, as the prognosis is she's only got months to live. Opie says, "This is correct. I don't know where people are getting the idea that she'll carry it to full term. There won't be a child to raise." Let's go to an update. I wanted to give an update considering a lot of people are messaging me and I didn't want to keep up with all of them. Here's what we decided to do. First of all, we came to the conclusion of not going through with this idea. However, we did decide to rekindle our sexual relationship. Don't worry, I used a condom. I prepared ahead of time and I had a feeling this might happen. I just didn't want to be the one to initiate things. Her asking me to get her pregnant was a pretty good final indication, lol. I also got her a reborn baby doll, and she cried with happiness over it. She said this will help a lot. Thanks to the people who suggested it. In any case, this is the plan moving forward. This experience got us closer again, and I'll continue to support her until she passes. Oh man, bit of a bittersweet ending there, but a good one all in all, I think. Opie sounds like a great guy. I accused my fiancé of cheating on me and left our house. Throwaway because I feel really stupid and need advice. My fiancé and I have been in a relationship for the last 6 years, engaged for the last 2 years, and we're about to get married in November 2024. going to try and not make this long. On Monday, I woke up around 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom. As I walked past my fiancé's side of the bed, his phone went off with a message. I got curious and looked. This message was from a girl called Angie. The message said it was good to see you again and I had a lot of fun and we should do it again sometime. I took his phone with me to the bathroom and read their chats. Nothing sexual or even flirty, but there was a bunch of conversations of meeting up at her place, what they did that day and all the fun they were having. I remember yesterday that I wanted to do something with him, but he couldn't as his sister was in town and they've arranged to meet and hang out for months now. He did invite me along, but I didn't go, and I didn't want to take away from his time with his sister. My thoughts immediately went to him cheating on me, and I started to bawl like a baby in the bathroom. My fiancé came rushing into the bathroom to see what was going on. I was not as quiet as I thought I was in the end. When he came close to me and asked what was going on, I told him not to touch me. He looked hurt in that moment and took a step back. I gave him his phone and told him, "Explain yourself," through my tears. He took the phone, looked and laughed. Then I saw him laughing. I got up and stormed out, locking myself in the spare bedroom. He came to the bedroom and through the door said he was sorry for laughing and tried to explain himself. Before he said anything else, I told him to leave. He then left to our bedroom. That morning before he woke up, I grabbed some of my things and came to my sister's house. I've been here since Tuesday morning, too afraid to go home. He sent me a message that morning saying he heard and saw me leave, but didn't want to stop me because of what happened the night before. Again, he said sorry for laughing, but the situation was just ridiculous in the moment, and his tired brain responded with laughter. I sent back some hurtful things and that he is a cheater. He responded with, "Angie is a nickname for my sister, Angelina. He told me to confirm with his sisters if I didn't believe him, and told me to check Facebook and Insta if I need proof, because there were pictures there posted of the meetup yesterday." He didn't say anything to the hurtful thing I said to him or anything, but told me the house is open for me to come back anytime I like, and when I do we'll have a serious conversation about what happened and what will happen going forward. I'm scared to go home, because I feel like he'll be breaking up with me and I don't want that. How can I handle this? I know I was wrong for the way I acted. I acted like a child. I overreacted. How can I fix this? What can I do now? Jeez, yeah, OP messed up big time. Sounds like her insecurities got the better of her. I'm sure she knew what his sister's name was, but she didn't even take a minute to try and figure it out. Instead, she stormed out and made the situation a lot worse. Let's go to the comments. How did you not put Angie and Angelina together as the sister of the man you were supposedly marrying, especially when he told you he was meeting his sister and invited you to go? Sorry sis, but this is your own damn idiotic fault. Shaking my head. Edit, especially since you'll have been together 6 years. You mean in all that time you've never heard her called Angie? Even if you hadn't heard him call her Angie before, you knew that his sister's name was Angelina, which is obviously very similar, and that she was in town and he'd been hanging out with her, and you immediately jumped to assuming he was cheating? I'm sorry, but this is an absolutely buck-wild reaction. If he doesn't break up with you, you need to get yourself into therapy ASAP and figure out where this knee-jerk reaction came from. In fact, you really should do that either way, because this level of trust issue in an otherwise stable 6-year relationship is not normal, unless you're leaving out something huge like past infidelity. Opie replies, "Nothing like that at all. He's always been loving and never hid anything from me. We know the password to every device each other owns." I hate to be the a-hole, but I'm curious as to why cheating was the first thing you went to. If he's never given you a reason to believe he's cheating, and when he was especially clear about what and who he was going to see, I can't help but feel like there's some projection or guilt on your end. I don't know, it just seems insane to me that that's where your mind went to, and that's how you reacted. Opie replies, "I was cheated on before by my previous boyfriend, and found out in an almost similar way." Opie makes an edit. Before someone asks, I have heard him referring to his sister as Angie in the past, but my brain didn't put it together that night. I've been at my sister's house since Tuesday morning, too afraid to go home, and the only text I've gotten from him so far is asking if I'm okay, and good night text. When I tried to talk over the phone, he says we'll talk when you're home, and he won't be doing it over a phone. The conversation has to be face to face. Honestly, I feel like the longer Opie hides and doesn't face up to what she did, the more likely he is to break up with her. Like, there's some seriously bad decision-making skills going on here. On to an update. I don't know what to do now. My fiancé left me. This morning I got ready to go home. Before I left, I had a final conversation with my sister, and she basically said the same as all of you. During our conversation, the doorbell rang and my sister went to have a look at who was here so early on a Sunday. My fiancé walked in and I was actually excited to see him. I went in to hug him, but he pushed me away. I felt hurt in that moment, and he asked to speak to me in private. We went up to the guest room where I was staying. I'm not going to say everything we discussed on here, but the short of the story is, he found it very childish for me to run out of the house without talking to him. He said he could forgive all of that because the misunderstanding happened. But what he can't forgive is the way I acted and ignored him and hid from him the last week. My insecurities all throughout these years have taken a toll on him, and he is done. The fact that a conversation with his sister caused me to do all of this made him see me in a different light. I did try and explain, and he laughed at me, saying my reasoning is BS, and not just he, but the whole family refers to his sister as Angie, and I know that. He even brought up instances where I called her Angie myself. I tried to tell him that when I saw the messages, my mind just went blank, and he responded with, "Stop making excuses, I'm done with this." He then said it's better to break up because he doesn't see this relationship going any further. I showed him all my stuff was packed and that I wanted to go home today. He just responded, "Too little too late." He said it as if he was in a movie with no emotions on his face. When he looked at me, all I saw on his face, for some reason, is pity for me. He said he'll be cancelling everything and all the money that I've spent on the wedding so far will be in my account as soon as he gets the refunds. Before he left, he just said, "I hope you'll find someone that will be able to handle your childishness and insecurities, but that won't be me." He brought all my things to my sister's house. He and two of his friends unloaded everything on my sister's lawn and left. What do I do now? I haven't been able to eat the whole day and just keep crying. How can I fix this? I was wrong, I know, but it's not fair that he'll dump me because of this. Yeah, so my thoughts were pretty correct there. The constant hiding Opie did in the week after the incident was probably the deal breaker for the fiancé, and I don't blame him. Opie had so many opportunities to save the situation and the relationship, but I don't know, just refused to do any of them. Can't say I have much sympathy for her in this situation. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's the end of that one, and we'll move on to another story. Okay, we're jumping over to Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Satisfaction OK, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my mum I don't want her to watch her grandson alone anymore? I, female 23, and my husband 24, welcomed our baby, male, in September of last year. We moved from his hometown to mine in January, in hopes of saving up to buy a house. We moved in with my mum, 50, something she very enthusiastically agreed to. Throughout our few months, she's been a little weird. She's constantly checking to see if he has teeth, pushing for us to stop feeding him milk, tries to give him really complicated food, like candy yams. Her defense is, I did with you and you survived. Most recently, she was holding him and playfully asked him if he wanted water, in which I responded, "Do not give him water, Mum." She proceeds to give it to him and goes, "See, he's fine, he isn't dead." I immediately took my child from her and informed her that she will no longer be watching the baby alone since she is constantly overstepping my boundaries and doing everything I ask her to not do. She isn't talking to me now and told me I made her feel like a bad parent and grandparent. Am I the a-hole? Is there something I should be doing to make her talk to me? Edit, I pay half the mortgage, utilities, buy my own food to cook with. I don't rely on her for childcare. Just want to clear that up since I'm seeing a few comments about it. Yeah, no, definitely not the a-hole. No one should be overturning the authority of the parents, no matter what you think is right or wrong. Obviously there are clear exceptions to this, but this is not one of them. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. Although 6 to 7 months, it's safe to give a baby water. You mentioned milk, not formula. If it's cow's milk, before a year is a huge no-no. If it's formula, doctors do suggest water in between bottles. In fact, they suggest starting babies on soft food, especially after their teeth come in. Introducing baby food or soft foods at 4 to 6 is perfectly healthy, only introducing one food at a time in case of allergies. Your mother is the grandmother, not the mother. Being a grandmother myself, I babysat my grandchildren over weekends. I still asked what was allowed to be given and not given. The things your mother is doing is perfectly healthy, but it's your choice, not hers. I think you overreacted, especially with the water, but to punish your mother and say she cannot watch the baby is a little on the mean side. Sit down with her, if need be, on the baby's next appointment, and take your mother with. Discuss these issues with the paediatrician. Opie replies, "Thank you for this. It's not the water part that bothered me, it's just the part where she did it, even after I asked her not to." Not the a-hole. Your child, your rules and decisions. Full stop. Unless your mother believes you're doing something that is actively harming your baby, she should step all the way back and respect how you want to raise your son. Offering you a place to stay should have zero bearing on whether or not she follows the guidelines you set up for caring for your child. The giving him water incident is crazy boundary overstepping and a direct power play. You did the right thing. You're a mother now and you're responsible for your son, not for mother. You clearly need to move out ASAP. It may take longer to save to buy a house, but this is not a sustainable solution. She will go behind your back and do whatever she wants with your baby if you stay. If she comes to you truly penitent at some point, you might consider letting her see your baby, but I would hesitate myself to leave him alone with her. Not the a-hole, but she will not stop doing these things and it will be difficult to avoid them while you still live with her. Not the a-hole, she's just emotionally immature and placed you in a role of daughter, still, instead of seeing you for the grown woman and mother you are now. You're validated in worrying about your baby being internally drowned in a water to nutrients ratio. That is a thing. Babies can have too much water via water intoxication. It is dangerous. I think it would be better to leave. As long as you're under her roof, she will see you as her daughter and not a grown woman because she's emotionally immature and has her own growing to do through her emotional wounds. How do I know this? She got defensive and turned herself into the victim when your baby could have been hurt. Get out. Whew, okay, on to an update. Whoa, I did not realize how divided the internet was on parenting, and I'm seeing this on blogs? That's insane to me as I'm from a pretty small town. First off, obviously info is somewhat off and every aspect of my situation isn't posted here, so advice is being taken with a grain of salt. Secondly, everyone had fair points. Some had good advice, others had perspectives I never thought about. With that being said, Mum and I had a conversation last night. She started off defensive, telling me I was showing her that her tricks and advice wasn't right. I showed her some articles and voiced my concerns. I let her know that I'm not telling her she did a bad job raising us, but times and rules have changed. Someone pointed out that car seats weren't big back then, and now it's the law to have your child in one. After a 30-minute conversation, we got to the root of the problem. She feels like she did a bad job raising her kids. I assured her she didn't, and that I respect and appreciate everything she was able to do for us growing up. But it's my turn to raise the child, and her turn to relax and enjoy the perks of having grown children and grandkids now. So, all is well. She knows I wasn't mad about the water, just that it felt like she did it to prove a point. Side note, I love my mum, and I would never just jump to banning her from enjoying her first grandson. She's my world, after my husband and son, and once again, I love her dearly. Okie dokie, and that's the end of that one. Yeah, so it turns out the mother was kind of trying to make up for past mistakes. Am I reading that right? Something along those lines. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, on to another story. Okay, same subreddit. This one was posted by user Specialist Ask, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for screaming at my husband to get out after he pranked me with flowers? My husband and my marriage is not going well. I'm very close to divorce and I've talked to him about it. I told him I wanted some effort. I wanted flowers, chocolate, a nicely written note, something that showed he wanted to romance me. He finally took it seriously and agreed. When I came home from a 12-hour shift yesterday, he had laid a trail of rose petals in our house. It was so beautiful. The trail ended at the kitchen sink, where he had piled a bunch of dirty dishes, pots and pans to clean. He said he got the idea from TikTok. I screamed at him to get out of my house. He left after arguing a bit. I cried. Some of my friends said I was right, but others say he was just being playful. Am I the a-hole? Ugh, I physically shuddered when I read that he got the idea from TikTok. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. I'm old and a widow. I had a very long and loving relationship with my husband. He had a fantastic sense of humour and often did very silly things to get a laugh out of me. Our marriage was solid because he would never have let me come home from a 12-hour shift to rose petals leading to a dirty sink of dishes. He would have had rose petals leading to a sparkling kitchen, dinner ready, and with him dressed in a French maid outfit, probably with his ass hanging out. God, I miss that man. Anyway, what your husband did, especially knowing how much you were really needing some romance, was incredibly cruel and tone-deaf. I don't think this one is a keeper, OP. OP replies, I'm so sorry for your loss. Your husband sounds like an incredible man who loved you very, very much. I wish I had that kind of love. TikTok is a pestilence. Did he film you? That's not playful, especially when the stakes are high. Get him a fake winning lottery ticket, then hand him a divorce decree. Opie replies, he had his phone out. I don't think he posted it, but if he does, I'm done. I actually found the original, or maybe one of the TikTok pranks he used as inspiration. The comments even pointed out how messed up it was to do. I would give him a fake lottery ticket if I didn't know he would make a fuss about it. On to an update. My husband came back home last night. I'd cooled off and then he ruined it by saying I was overreacting, that it was funny and he wanted to make me laugh. I told him I was going to file for divorce because it was the last straw. He then started crying and begging me not to. He begged me to give him a second chance. I said he already got a second chance and he squandered it by reminding me that I do all the daily chores in this house. This was why our marriage was so rocky. I work in the medical field while he's a blue-collar worker. Both of our jobs require long hours, but if I mess up, people die. He once said that I went through all that schooling just to get covered in blood and crap. He took it back after, but he wanted to make me feel low. He started doing that a bit after COVID started. I do the cooking and cleaning, I do the laundry, the sweeping, the dentist appointments. All he does is create more work for me. He wanted me to pack him lunch because his friends' wives do. His friends' wives are either stay-at-home mothers or they have part-time jobs. I do not have the time or energy to do that. He said he mows the lawn. Well, guess what? It's winter and I had to shovel the driveway because I had work in the morning and he had the day off. I make more money. I bought our house at a low rate during COVID because his credit was too low. I had to save the money for a down payment. I pay our mortgage. What did he contribute to my life? If I didn't have him in my life, I would have clean floors all the time and more money. At least he could contribute love. He said he loved me, but he doesn't do anything to prove it. So I asked him for flowers or chocolate or a nice card, literally anything to show some love. But instead he dropped flower petals to a sink full of dirty dishes, pots and pans. It's not even original. I'm done. I'm going to file for divorce. Yeah, it's truly extraordinary how people like that get wives in the first place. No one should be settling for that crap. Am I the a-hole for blocking my ex when she broke up with me? I made this account today because my sister and parents are acting like I'm in the wrong and I genuinely don't see how. My 19 male ex-girlfriend, 20, of 3 years, broke up with me Sunday night over text. She told me that she felt like my lack of ambition was holding her back and she needed to move on with her life because she felt like I didn't value her. When she sent me that, I just sent okay and blocked her and fell asleep shortly after. I did not block her friends and had loads of messages yesterday morning when I woke up. They were asking me to unblock her and to talk to her. My sister, 20, is also friends with my ex-girlfriend, and she told me that my ex was hurt by my sudden blocking and that she still wanted to talk to me for closure and wanted to make sure I was okay. I told my sister that I was okay and that I didn't want to talk to my ex, but would like it if she could tell her I appreciate her checking on me. My sister was not happy with this and told me that it was a hard decision for my ex and she just wants to talk to me. I again told her I was fine and that I'd rather not. My sister then told me that I'm acting insanely calm for being broken up with someone I was with for 3 years. I again told her I was fine. She asked me if I cried and I told her that I didn't and I just fell asleep listening to music. My sister told me that she's concerned about my lack of emotion and told me that my behaviour isn't normal. I told her that I'm not obligated to cry over anything and I think it's weird that she was acting like I was. My sister once again told me that it wouldn't hurt to have one conversation with my ex because she was still worried about me and wanted to stay friends. I once again told her I was fine and didn't want to talk to her. She told me that my lack of compassion is psychotic. That ticked me off, so I just started ignoring her, and she eventually left me alone. This morning when I woke up, my sister sent me a bunch of text messages again, so I just blocked her, and because of this she went and told their parents, and they're upset with me for blocking my ex without communicating first. They said that we'd been together long enough, and they thought of her as a second daughter. I was just aggravated at this point and told them that I'd appreciate if they mind their business, but they didn't stop, so I told them I wouldn't hesitate to block them too if they continue, which caused them to stop. They apologized to me and told me that they didn't mean any harm, but just felt like it was a little inconsiderate of me to just block her without talking about it first, but they won't press me to talk to her if I don't want to. What? Honestly, blocking your ex straight away is the healthiest thing to do when you get broken up with. I honestly think the girlfriend just wanted him to grovel and, cry over her about how they could make things work and things like that. And also she breaks up with him over text after 3 years and she thinks that warrants a respectful answer. Nah, I'm with OP here. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. She can't have it both ways. She can't dump you and then expect to still maintain as much contact as she pleases. And nobody is stopping her from still being friends with your sister, so it's not like your parents won't still get to see their second daughter sometimes. You don't owe her or anyone else closure about how your relationship ended, period. If I were in your shoes, the thing I would very much like to say to the sister is this. She left me so she could focus on herself. She should be doing that now, or else her breaking up with me was pointless, wasn't it? You don't owe your ex crap. You don't owe her closure. You don't owe her a status update. You don't owe her a conversation so that she feels better about herself. You don't owe your sister crap. You weren't dating your sister and her friendship with your ex doesn't mean anything. She isn't entitled to butt into what is going on between you and your ex. None of it is any of her business. She is making it clear that her friendship with your ex is more important than her friendship with you. You don't owe your parents crap, just like with your sister. It's none of their business. It doesn't matter if they see her like a second daughter. Their relationship with her is their relationship, not yours. It doesn't matter if they want you to talk to her. You don't want to talk to her. The fact that they're supporting her over you shows who they value more. You should make sure to point out how insulting it is that they care more about her than you, seeing how your ex broke up with you. You have done nothing wrong. You need to take care of you. Your ex was a coward for breaking up over text. Your family doesn't support you. All you have is you, and you need to make sure you is well cared for in the absence of your family's love and support. Best of luck with all this unnecessary drama. Are you kidding? She says she doesn't want to date you and then is mad when you cut contact? She can't have it both ways. She dumped you. She chose to end it. She's a huge a-hole for making her inability to deal with her emotions about the breakup your problem. Like, why should you babysit her emotions when she frickin' dumped you? Opie replies, "Thank you. I don't understand why everyone was making it seem like I was in the wrong when I wasn't even the one who broke up with her. She might also be trying to stay in the friend group and trying to make it so things aren't awkward. F that, not the a-hole." Opie says, "I doubt it. Her friends aren't my friends. I was just friendly with them because I was dating her. All of her friends are blocked." Please, please, please go on a date with someone new ASAP. Make sure your sister knows. Go somewhere nice. If this isn't doable, fake the date. Hilarity will ensue. Opie says, laughing my ass off. My friend actually suggested I do this as well, but I wasn't comfortable with the idea. I feel like it'll just cause unnecessary drama, and I'm just trying to relax, for real. Okay, let's go to an update. This happened like exactly a week ago, so I apologise for not updating. I genuinely was not thinking about this at the time. Basically, my ex showed up at my parents' house during Easter with my sister. My parents and I weren't even made aware that she was coming. She told us that she only came because she had no other way to communicate with me. She told me that she was extremely hurt by me blocking her right off the bat because it made her feel like I actually didn't care about her at all. She said she thought that I would have loved her enough to try and better myself for her. I was confused by this, to be honest. I told her that she said I was holding her back and she needed to move on. If anyone told me that I was holding them back in life, I probably would have blocked them too. I told her that even if she didn't say that, I still wouldn't have begged her to stay. We kind of talked a little more after that, and then she got my sister to take her back home. When my sister came back, she was mad at me again because she said that I caused my ex to cry, and I'm simply punishing her for caring about me. My parents are mad at my sister though, because they said it was unnecessary of her to do that at their house, because it made the atmosphere awkward for everyone. Other than that, I've really just been chilling. I don't think I'm going to try and date anyone else soon though, or at least not someone my sister is friends with, because it makes me uncomfortable with how much she's invested in my life. Yeah, smart call with that one. Honestly, Opie seems pretty blasé about the whole thing, which makes me think that he was probably checked out of the relationship as well. But either way, the girlfriend and the sister are pretty thick in the skull for believing that they're on the right here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this one. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's jump to another story. Okay, going back over to relationships, this one was written by user NaviBean, and it's titled, My friend of 15 years didn't invite me to her wedding, but invited my parents. Is this the end of our friendship? So the situation is pretty much what the title says. I've been friends with Brandy for 15 years. Once we became friends, our families eventually merged and became super close as well. This group of friends has now grown to include several other families, totaling about 20 to 25 people. At this point, all of the people our age call each other cousins. After graduating high school, I moved across the country, but Brandy and I would stay in frequent contact through texts and actually writing each other physical letters. After graduation, I moved back to the same state, but we still lived a couple of hours apart. Still, we would try to get together at least twice a year. On top of that, our families celebrate Christmas, Father's Day, the 4th of July, and 2 local holidays together, so we also see each other for all of those events that we both can attend. However, now she lives in the same town as my parents. I don't, so she regularly attends their monthly card games they host. I go when I can, but it's not often as it's a bit of a drive for me. We both got engaged this year. I was so certain that I was invited to the wedding that I was planning my own wedding date around hers. Well, my parents got their save the date in the mail last week, and I didn't. My mum tried to tactfully ask her mum, Stacey, if my invite got lost in the mail. Stacey said that Brandy was only inviting close friends she saw regularly. At first, I thought maybe her parents are paying for the wedding and are prioritising their friends. Sucks, but whatever. However, all of the other kids, relative term, in this group are all invited, including her sister's ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend of 6 months. Oh, and the ex's older sister, who has lived across the country for the last 7 years, who I've never actually seen Brandy talk to. I'm just gutted. I have no idea why this is happening. I don't even want to say anything to Brandy about it because there isn't even a desirable outcome. If she apologised and invited me, I don't even think I'd go because I'm so personally offended. We are without a doubt going to see each other for the rest of our lives. What do I do when everyone is talking about her wedding, how much fun it was, and asks why I wasn't there? I don't really want to beg for her friendship. I'm just really sad. Edit to add, when I say planning my wedding around hers, I just meant keeping her date in mind, which is over this coming summer, and deciding to wait to get married until summer 2025. This was decided due to a couple other factors as well, but I felt it was worth adding to the post because a lot of comments kept insinuating she might be threatened or some sort of jealousy surrounding wedding planning. There's surely got to be something else Opie's omitting here, either purposefully or not. But yeah, I don't really see a reason why she wouldn't be invited. Regardless, it sounds like the friendship's on its way out. Let's see some comments. Sounds like there's more going on than just inviting close friends if the ex's sister got an invite. Sounds like she didn't invite you for some reason, and only she would know that. As for when people ask why you weren't there, say, "I wasn't invited." All there is to it. Opie says, if you were in my position, would you just let it lie or try to address it with her? I just feel like it's going to be awkward for the rest of our lives now. If you're going to bring it up, you can only do this if you're able to accept any answer she gives you with grace. It's not a chance to negotiate, shout at her, or try to make her feel bad. At the end of the day, people can invite whoever they want to invite. If you're close enough to be vulnerable, it could help salvage your relationship going forward. It might be worth mentioning it. Maybe a text along the lines of, "Hi Brandy, congratulations on your upcoming wedding. My parents have received invites and I'm in no way angling for one, but wanted to make sure that I haven't done anything to upset you in any way and that we're still on good terms. If you've been feeling some distance between us, I'm truly sorry about that and would love to catch up soon." If you think you can't keep your cool, or there isn't a single explanation on earth that would make you go, "Oh yes, makes sense," or you don't want to salvage this friendship going forward, there's probably nothing to be gained from contacting her about this. You can just be polite at group events and accept that you're not actually as close as you assumed. I mean, she knows she's not inviting you and she didn't even give you a heads up. I'd ask what's up, but the friendship is over. Sucks she's so close to your family. Sure hope they have your back. There were 3 weddings of my then closest friends about 5 years back. One of them I attended as a simple guest, one of them I attended as the best man, and about one of them I found out after the fact when a mutual acquaintance asked me why they didn't see me at the wedding. A person whom I thought to have been much less close to that friend than we were. I think you can guess which 2 friends are still an important part of my life and who has no part in it whatsoever anymore. The former friend tried reaching out, after contact had died for years after the wedding in question, but by then I'd lost interest in finding out what happened. To this day, this life event remains unresolved, and I suspect this will not ever change. So I'd straight up ask her, maybe her mum has some hidden beef or something. You won't know till you speak directly to your friend. But if she is excluding you, then your friendship is over. If that's the case, don't beg or grovel or give her any of yourself. Cry later, she gets nothing. You'll thank yourself later. And if I was your mum, I wouldn't go either. Update me. Opie says, yeah, my mum is really upset and this has definitely driven a wedge between my mum and Stacey. Stacey said she was surprised I was even upset, which makes no sense, which my mum asked for explanation about and she didn't elaborate. All of the other mums are on our side too, for what it's worth. I mean, everyone is shocked and sad for me, just not so much that they'll risk rocking the boat by not going to the wedding. Yeah, okie dokie guys, and that's the end of that story. Opie never gave an update, which I assume only means that there was never really a resolution for this one. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's move on to another one. Okay, jumping back over to Am I the A-hole, this one was written by user Numerous Barber, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for dressing too straight and making my girlfriend uncomfortable? I, female 21, have been dating my girlfriend, 24, for 4 months. We've known each other about a year. She's the only girl I've ever dated or been with in that manner, and I think this has caused a lot of issues for her. Since the beginning, she's always commented that my clothes, the way I look, and my hair make me look like a straight girl. She's never said this in a rude way, just more of an observing way with some undertones to it. I've always told her that if my style or way I look bothers her, I'm more than likely not going to change it. But she says it all the time, every time I wear something feminine, which is almost every day. Every time she's close enough to touch my hair, she tells me, long blonde hair is so straight. One time I liked a video of 2 feminine girls who were married on TikTok. The video was them showing their outfits, and my girlfriend got mad and accused me of wanting her to look like them. For context, she leans way more masculine. She has short hair, lots of tattoos and piercings, and even binds her chest sometimes. One time, and I'm going to keep this as PG-13 as possible, during sex, she asked me if I wanted penetration, and I said yes, but apparently I said it too enthusiastically, and she accused me of, quote, missing dick, because I've dated men in the past. Finally, last night, we had a birthday dinner for a friend. I was wearing a black dress, really nothing special about it, but when my girlfriend saw, she demanded I change. I asked why. She gave me the usual answer. I told her to leave me alone about that, and tried to walk past her to the car. Instead of letting me go, she yanked me back inside by my arms and held my face, demanding that change. I told her no. She told me that no one was going to think we were together. Mind you, this is literally all of our friends, and they already know. I told her as long as she held my hand, I think they'd know. She eventually gave up, but we spent the whole dinner pretty mad at each other. When we got home, she made me prove I like girls, which just ended up with me in tears. Not because I don't like girls, but because I don't like being forced to prove it. She's still so mad at me, but I just can't fathom that I'm the a-hole here. What did I do other than wear what I'm comfortable in? I don't know. I said I'm sorry, but she won't take it. Am I the a-hole? This is massive red flag behaviour, no matter what context you put it in. Let's look at the comments. Not the a-hole, just end this relationship. She wants you to change and she's getting violent about it. Seriously, she's already mentally abusing you, OP, and when she grabbed your arm to demand you change your dress, that's not exactly what a normal caring partner would do. Your girlfriend may get physically violent with you in the future, and you shouldn't stick around to find out. Not the a-hole. In a healthy relationship, you don't tell the other person to change who they are for your own insecurities. Orientation or preferences should never matter. Compassion and understanding matter. She yanked on your arm? No, she is psycho, and now would be a good time to walk or run away. Now, really. You're the first of the top comments telling OP to break up. Everyone else mentions things adjacent to it, but 100% homegirl needs to leave before things escalate. The ex won't have to worry about people wondering if they're together once they no longer are. OP, if they didn't like how you presented, they shouldn't have started dating you. They're projecting their own insecurities into how you look. Get out of this relationship. If she doesn't like how you are, she can leave. You've only been dating 4 months. And incidentally, who made her the LGBTQ gatekeeper? OP clarifies. I would call myself bi, but she hates when I do that. On dressing straight versus lesbian. There was more than that too. Yes, she had problems with my long hair and my girly clothes and my makeup, but also with the music I listened to. OMG, Taylor Swift is straight people music. And the things I enjoy. God, you actually like that show? Because it was all typically girly or feminine. One commenter says, also your last part about her making you prove you like girls, it sounds like she assaulted you. I really hope that's not the case, and I just interpreted this the wrong way. I hope you're okay and you get out of this situation quickly. You'll find a partner who appreciates you for who you are, and this woman is not it. OP replies, I don't know what it was. Certainly not anything I want to happen again, or has ever happened to me before. But I don't know, I'm just confused. But I'm okay. It's kind of you to be concerned. Luckily, I have a really great friend who I live with, and a mum that calls me every day to get updates on my life, lol. I'll be totally okay. Now for an update. Hi everyone, it's been over a week since I've posted this, and I literally cannot believe this blew up like this. Thanks so much for helping me, it's helped tremendously. For everyone concerned for me, don't worry. I'll be completely fine, and me and my now ex-girlfriend have broken up and gone no contact. I have a really good mum and best friend who have been here for me, and we've all read almost 6,000 comments on here. Thanks so much, from a stranger on the internet. Oh wow, great ending, and good to hear that Opie's got a really good support network around her. It's all too lacking these days. Anyway, give me your thoughts about that one down below. Either way, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day, cheers.